I said hello and welcome to FMK Anime. I'm your host Meep, joined by my co-host Gilly and Dalaron. Say hello, you two.
Red.
That sound of a dying man was Gilly, and I'm Dalaron. If you're watching us live, hi! You're ready where you need to be. If you're not, and catching us on YouTube, you can catch our sessions being streamed nowadays on Monday live or Tuesday after recording on twitch.tv/Dalaron Quest. That's DALARON Quest. And, yeah. Once again, just huge shout out to Team 4 Star for creating this format and letting us play around with it and have fun during these crazy 2020 times. Yeah, let's get episode 8 on the road. Meep, what we got?
Yeah. Episode 8 of Adachito Shimamura. Adachi tries to figure out what kind of chocolate she wants to get for Shimamura, while the little alien and little Shimamura go hang out. The four gals hang out at Nakafuji's, with the episode ending with Shimamura and Terumi going to hang out. Not a lot of forward momentum this episode, but it was still really soft and cute. I enjoyed it.
Oh, 100%. Actually, last week I was lukewarm on. I was half and half, but this week it was solid in my opinion. But why should we? We're 8 episodes in. Why should we break tradition? Gilly, how are you doing with this week's episode?
No different than I usually do.
Don't you love?
Honestly, this
Shimamura?
episode has only given me anticipation of disliking it even more in future episodes.
Why is that?
Because I'm seeing it starting to set up what's going to turn into to a degree of drama with the ending of the episode.
Yeah, yeah. You're not excited about the potential love triangle
No,
or the love Y, which is there's two roads leading to one person.
I am not excited for that, Dalaron, not whatsoever.
How about this? And I think Meep also enjoyed the way he kind of his voice went up when he talked about it. The video game scene was really cute. It was really wholesome and pure, and it was just pals being pals. It just felt like for a moment, all the drama that's building up was suspended. Adachi and Shimamura were comfortable around each other, especially Adachi. Nagafuji and Hino were playing games. Everyone was having fun. Adachi has ridiculous luck in Mario or Japan Party, whatever game they were playing.
I thought
felt
it
like
was
that
like
was
Monopoly
Yeah, it seemed like it was supposed to be
or the game of
Monopoly.
life.
Well, as we know, the game of life is Shimamura's least favorite game. It's horribly unbalanced.
You. No.
Listen, you listen here.
You listen here, you son of a bitch. Yeah, I found the video game part to be just the right amount of levity and breathing room we really needed in this series. Last episode got me feeling conflicted. This for the same reason that this episode has Gilly feeling the same reason this episode has Gilly feeling extra conflicted. So it was nice to suspend the apprehension and just see people being friends together. Also, Hino's tan has faded, even though it's only been a few weeks. That seems odd to me.
She molted.
She molted? Is
Not
that
gonna
what you
dignify
just
that with
said?
a response.
It took a second to register in my brain.
Come on, Dalaron, she molted.
I'm gonna boost your volume a bit, Meep.
This episode was really soft. I loved seeing little Shimamura and Shikama. Like it was funny because I love the scene where Shimamura just turns around, comes back to Chikama, and she's like, "It seems that the jutsu worked," and she just starts spreading her face. It worked because I'm a good person.
Which I thought was interesting to hear coming from Hoketsu, older sister, main Shimamura. But it was nice to get some more Chikama in this and have her adorable. She can fly now, apart from making glitter and stars from her hair. She is
She's an
slowly,
actual alien.
yeah, she is slowly becoming more and more alien. And
Smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors.
all right, Mr. All right, Hercule Satan. Wow, that should not have been that hard for me to pronounce.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
It's all smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors, there, guys. Smoke and mirrors.
Goddamn trick. It's a goddamn trick. I'll go fight that bug. Teach that blue-haired girl how to love. Wait, that came out wrong. That came out wrong.
Uh-huh. You're a
Didn't you
wonderful
guys
cameraman,
love-
but a terrible martial artist. But anyway, back to the show at hand.
Didn't you
see-
guys love the astrologist lady, the medium?
Don't give her more credit. She's a fucking half-baked well, half-baked in more than one way because bitch just gets crazier and crazier with every segment.
Yeah, I love her.
One of the only things I enjoyed.
You didn't enjoy Chikama and Little Shimamura going to the movies?
That was cute.
Eh.
That fucking psychic, if you... Actually, I have the still up right here. If you take this shot out and place it into any of our series, I think you could easily transplant it into like a mid-scene of Jujutsu Kaisen and no one would know the fucking better.
I just find
Oh
it
god,
funny.
what's her cursed power?
Bullshit.
Stealing people's money. I just thought it was funny how how Adachi kept trying to take her advice and it kept failing.
I literally have written in my notes, no, Adachi, no, you fucking fool. Stop listening. Don't listen to the horoscopes. Don't listen to horoscopes.
Also,
I liked her hairstyle when she changed it.
It was cute.
I did too.
It
But
was a
Shimamura likes her better when she's herself.
Yeah, because she's used to her, and there's this level of kinship there, and in the end, Shimamura acknowledges that Adachi comes to her for support. Before, it used to be her, like, the wall of the gym, and now it's her, and I thought that was delightfully soft.
Yeah, and even Shimamura is saying, like, yeah, you know, Adachi has changed. Something's up with her, but I don't want to read too much into it, and it's just soft and cute.
Yeah. Also, Shimamura, you flirty fuck. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew what you're doing when you're like, I like how you look normally, like every day. How you usually look, and I'm like, Shima, you fuck.
It's like that friendly flirting.
Yeah, I don't know. Just today's another episode of Shimamura being like indirectly flirting, or I can't tell. I still can't tell, which I guess is a hook at this point because I've said so for the last 4 episodes, and Adachi just being an adorably awkward fuck, just
She's
adorably
adorable.
awkward.
Hino and Nakafuji are slowly becoming a good couple.
This episode, they kind of backed off of their, like, intimacy and just made everyone have a good time. Like, I complained last week that I felt like we had 3 episodes of the same thing happen with no progression. In fact, quite the opposite. The progress went back. This episode, I think we went back to it, where not a lot of things happened to move the plot forward, or time forward. I felt like this episode had a lot of things happen that just, alleviated some stress, while at the end reminding that what we were worried about is still going to happen, but might not be as bad as we think. That's kind of that's what I took away after I left the episode.
I don't expect it to be a love triangle. What I'm expecting is Adachi to see them hang out and then start fearing the worst. Because I still don't read anything romantic between the two of them.
I feel
Maybe on Terumi's side, but definitely not Shimamura's side.
Yeah, Tarumi might actually have feelings. I The feelings I thought were there when I saw Shimamura react at the end of last episode definitely seem much less present in this episode. I'll definitely admit to that.
Yeah, and even with how Terumi acts, it could easily be chalked up to, oh, she hasn't spoken to Shimamura since what, kindergarten?
Yeah, maybe she's just shy and like, oh, I'm really happy to meet you again. But that's the what you said, Meep, about Adachi seeing them hanging out together. I think that's the thing me and Gilly like are feeling so nervous about because we're gonna see the worst parts of Adachi come out in that situation. And I understand that it's part of the story and the drama, but I'm also like scared for the girl because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna cringe intentionally.
Isn't that good when a show makes you feel for the character? Isn't that kind of the point of shows, making you feel for them?
This show's definitely succeeding in it. We've talked about this almost every episode, but its ability to write realistic and accurate to the like what the experiences of what someone in that age group would have to do is fantastic. And honestly, it sounds like we're moving toward cards because at least I don't have much more to say.
I don't either.
Gilly, I'm sure you're just
I'm
chomping
good.
at the bit to keep going about this show.
I'm taking this time to eat. Literally, I just finished my salad.
No, smart
I
man,
don't
smart
blame
man.
you.
He knows when to take. Gilly knows when to take moments of respite and to use his strength when he needs to, and this is not it for him.
Uh, I'm gonna fuck this show. Still no proof that Shimamura has a dad in the picture, so I'm gonna continue being that supportive stepfather.
I'll go while Gilly finishes his last bits of morsels. This episode was much softer and cuter than I expected. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I was already gearing up for us to hit full-blown Dramaland, but I really appreciate this series giving us this episode to kind of breathe and just enjoy the goodness that it has built up over the last 7 to 8 to now 8 episodes. Also, the episode like it passed me. It like I watched it and I didn't realize it was done. Like it felt like it passed so quickly. Like I didn't realize how quickly the episode was over. Like it just was done, one and done in a good way. Like it's not like I was bored and I disassociated. It was just like Oh, okay, we're done. Cool. Uh, yeah. And I guess the last note I can make while I hold up my eggplant because I'm fucking the show, uh, they slow down each other's pace. Like I think Shimamura is starting to develop more defined feelings for Adachi, and Adachi like isn't pushing and rushing her as much as she's like gaining a little bit of control. I think now that Shimamura doesn't feel like she's being pushed and rushed into something, she's just naturally starting to like fit in with Adachi's feelings, regardless of how anxious and adorably awkward Adachi is. Anyway, this is fun. This show writes compelling characters and incredibly realistic characters. So yeah, big fuck for me. Dun 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 dun. Gilly, what are you gonna do?
I mean, I'm gonna kill the show. I there the very brief moments of joy I get out of this is completely overshadowed by the constant, unrelenting pain I get from watching the rest of it.
I'm so sorry. Oh, Gilly, we're sorry.
Don't speak for me.
Oh, Gilly,
last show-
I'm sorry.
Look, all it takes is one bad week. All it takes is one bad week, and then I won't ever have to see it anymore.
Joke's on you, it's gonna be good for the rest of time.
Probably not.
Speaking of overshadowed, the fan service, there is no
Words.
fan service in this show. Whenever they show them in like baths, it's always tasteful. It's nudity without sexuality, and I really appreciated that. And that's just one more thing I wanted to point out about this show.
As one of my friends pointed out, she has a butt, guys. And it's just what I said to him. But isn't that fan service? No, fan service is when they're constantly fucking groping each other like in Fruit Tart.
Yeah, speaking of groping, here's one last still because I forgot to switch this over. Hino once again completely violates Nagafuji's personal space and like physical boundaries and gets slapped across the fucking face.
But Nagafuji smiled this time, so I feel like it's a thing in their dynamic. Like she might find it endearing.
I got less of like a he smile and more of like intimidating Jin Ichimaru kind of smile. Sorry, isn't his name is Gin, not Jin, but yeah.
The smile
No.
I'm getting is the not in front of people smile.
The smile I get
get
is
the-
menacing.
I get the One Piece Nami smile right as she's about to just knock Sanji out for being him.
Exactly. The show doesn't really use the usual anime like emotive kind of things. Like she doesn't have like the vein pulse on her head or like the little angry symbol, which is the vein pulse. But if this anime did do that, I think that's just a read I got.
Fair enough. But guys, we spoke about soft lesbians. Why don't we speak about sharp gays? With Yukoku no Moriarty, episode
And
8.
you stop that. I will send you to the pit.
Meep.
Yukoku no Moriarty, episode 8.
No. This
Sherlock
week it's
searches
called
for-
BBC's Sherlock.
Sherlock
Uh-oh, Meep.
searches. Hello?
Hey,
Hello?
are you back?
Yes, hello.
Okay, yeah.
As I said, sorry, the cats are just futzing around with my internet cord.
Tell them not to do it and give them a very stern looking to.
In this week's Yuko 8, Sherlock searches for a roommate and meets an army medic named John Watson. However, a count is found dead, and written in blood is the name Sherlock. Sherlock deduces, like the ship, there's a third party who organized the killing. We see Moriarty behind the scenes, setting up the murder.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. This episode follows. This is This is like near literally the opening to BBC's Sherlock, like season 1, episode 1. The setup is slightly different, but I guess this is how it happens in the books because from Samson to Watson kind of like reacting to like a dangerous situation, thinking that Sherlock is dead, it is exactly.
I enjoyed this so much.
I'm correct, the manga came out. Yeah. Hold up, Dalaran, when did BBC's Sherlock come out?
A while ago. I'll look up the when season 1 came out.
Because I'm fairly certain the manga came out before. So it might just be a coincidence, or it's just a common trope in Sherlock stories for Sherlock to, have that situation happen.
I like Yukoku no Moriarty's Sherlock more than most Sherlocks because he's a very nice, happy guy.
Oh yeah. Just he's nice, but he kind of reminds me of Gojo in a way. Like he has that similar aloofness where like he's just like bringing home all these people like I'm a struggling actor, but I'll pay you when I make it big. And all those other fuckers.
I think they really are grabbing the correct feeling for each character quite well. Like Watson first meeting Sherlock is always a lot. He always has this very, and for the most part he usually maintains sort of a plucky and excited kind of personality to him, while at the same time actually professional.
Yeah, very
Mhm.
proper, very serious.
And Lestrade, God, they got him. He had so few lines, and they nailed him.
I
Fucking
was actually surprised at how Lestrade looked. I'm just so used to BBC's version of him that I like expected a bit more of like a, like a emotive character.
well, he also in a lot of different depictions he ends up being almost they like to depict him close to looking like a almost a scruffy drunkard. Uh, but I just meant more the way he acted, the way he talked. He has a respect for Sherlock Holmes while not exactly particularly being his biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think they did a really good job with it. This
Yeah.
the whole episode, the fact that I think it was a good thing from the last episode to have this one just really dedicated to our new character that is our very likely going to be our
Antagonist.
antagonist. And it's weird to say antagonist, even though with our main character being not a good person, it makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that Moriarty is a bad or not a good person, because many people would see what he's doing and his actions are good. He's
His
literally trying to create a class
ideologies
revolution.
are his ideologies are fine, and what he wants to do is fine. His methodology, not so much.
Yeah. It's a thing of like, yeah, you're what you want is perfectly fine and valid, but your way of going about it is bad because it's setting a precedent for the next generations of, oh, if we don't like something, we can kill people in our way.
Pure anarchy. I did. I really enjoyed the opening scene to this episode where you get the 221B Baker Street door and Sherlock opens it up being all aloof, and then Mrs. Hudson just, giving him a fucking earful. The difference between the BBC's and this Sherlock is that Mrs. Hudson much younger, much snippier, much more sharp.
That's just in general. Usually she's an older woman. This she's older than him, but maybe by not it's not that much,
I mean, she's
unless
pretty.
she really is, and it's just anime aging.
Speaking of anime aging, I think the next show is where we can bring that up.
What's our next show? Ikebukuro, I think.
Yeah. We'll get to that bridge when we get to that land. But yeah, I really enjoyed seeing a lot of Sherlock, and the opening scene like kind of establishes his range of personality that we've seen over the last 3 episodes or 2 cases. And what a strong introduction to like the other side, the Sherlock sides of the story. The weakest part, in my opinion, the like not even the weakest part, the only weak part being how quickly Watson's like, yeah, sure, I'll come along, and I'm like, okay, that felt a little contrived, but otherwise, yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, the thing is with Watson is that he wants to help. Like that, if I'm correct, that's why he became an army medic, and he already saw Sherlock's ability, like creating that new concoction, uh, seeing like him in action.
Yeah, I'm honestly nitpicking when it comes to this because this episode hit a lot of beats and kind of introduced and expressed the right things, and they only have 24 minutes minus openings and closings. So for like the 20 minutes that they did have, I think they did a great job at introducing it, and they made it a two-parter. It's only part one.
Feel like we're gonna get a few of those.
I think at this point we're probably going to be getting more of those because we're definitely heading towards a more we're heading towards a heavier story now.
Yeah, which is going to continue in its second season, which, for our listeners out there, yes, this is only the first half of the manga they're adapting in this season, from what I can tell.
So do you think the final
making
episode...
a second season in spring.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I finished what I was saying.
Do you think the last episode, the season finale, is going to be a single episode or a conclusion to a two-parter case?
I think it's going to be a conclusion to a two-parter case with one of them faking their death.
Yeah. I cannot see this season ending with anything less than one of them faking their death.
Most likely Moriarty, I'm going to say. Just because the one shot in the opening.
I don't know. I have more of a feeling that it'll be the last episode of this season when just Sherlock comes to the realization of who's pulling the strings.
Mm.
That is fair.
We see at the very end of this episode, in the shadows, we got Moriarty who's already starting to
Test Sherlock.
Test him and see what he can do. And because after the last episode, he realized this man is going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm. So, if you guys recall in our last FMK episode, I was like, don't look at the previews, massive spoilers. I misinterpreted the scene, and I think this might have actually been intentional. I misinterpreted the scene with Sherlock laying down in blood, passed out, in cow blood. I thought it was opium. I thought he was high off his fucking ass, but in reality, Watson smelled blood, which is why he panicked. When I saw that single clip in the preview last week, I thought Sherlock was going to fake his death because Moriarty sent a hit on him. So I'm glad to see that they didn't pull that trigger yet.
So in that shot of the preview, this is what I thought. Because it shows Mrs. Hudson, then it shows Sherlock laying down dead. For some reason, my mind assumed, okay, Sherlock has a family. Moriarty killed his family as a call-out. Now Sherlock's out for revenge.
Jesus. Dun, 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 dun.
That's some mental gymnastics there, Meep.
Because I saw Sherlock lying in blood, and I thought he was a woman. So I was like, "Oh, he killed Sherlock's daughter or
Look,
wife."
He is very pretty, but he's not a woman.
Meep, I think your brain is just processing with your feelings towards Sherlock, and that's okay, buddy. It's okay. It's 2020. Be who you want to be.
Meep's brain is trying to create Femme Sherlock.
Listen, when the Husbando and Waifu Awards come out, you might see two Husbandos, that's all I'm saying.
I look forward to seeing
both
more
him
Watson.
and Gojo are extremely pretty.
Yeah, they are. They really are. Also, Mrs. Hudson. Speaking of Mrs. Hudson, I really look forward to seeing what they do with her character because they're setting her up as not passive. And Mrs. Hudson, in many iterations of the Sherlock series and story, has some crazy fucking backstory, like balls to the wall backstory behind her. So I'm curious to see what they do with this feisty gal.
Seems like they're setting her up to be a sort of familial or maybe romantic lead for Sherlock. I'm not going to say one or the other because it's way too up in the air at this point. But
I personally think it's familial. If anyone's being romantic with her, it's Watson.
Yeah, like she definitely cares for Sherlock like he's family.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Meep, just because she cares about him like their family does not mean there's anything romantic.
I mean, to be fair, Sherlock even made a joke at her. Why don't you join me in the communal, Miss Hudson?
This, because he was trying to get out of an awkward situation, so he tried to fluster her. Remember, Sherlock plays silly. but there's intention behind it all the time.
Yes, I'm not saying it's romantic. I'm saying it's either familial or romantic. I'm not gonna say one or the other at this point.
Mm-hmm. I will say this though, I do look forward to seeing more of Watson. I'm hoping that he isn't just like a background character, but he actually plays a role. He's less of a utility and a storytelling tool, and more of like a active part of this story being told. Because there's a lot you can do with a Watson.
You don't want him to be like Albert or Lewis?
God damn it, Lewis! I understand. Give us more Albert. Chat's calling you out, by the way, Meep.
Look, Albert's just waiting in the wings.
I hope Albert doesn't die this season. That would be actually sad. I don't want to see. They barely give him anything past his excellent first 2 episodes, and then we just martyr him. You can see him, right? You can see him there.
Moriarty.
Go ahead, Meep.
Sorry. I was just saying, the best Moriarty episode, this episode by far is episode 3. Like, are we on agreement of that?
Episode 3 was the Duke?
The one where Albert kills his little brother.
Oh, and that. Okay, yeah. Episode 3, not story 3. Yeah,
Flashback episodes in general were very well done.
I haven't found an episode. I know you don't like the Lady on the Bridge episode, but there hasn't been an episode that I disliked thus far.
No, I liked the Lady on the Bridge episode because I felt like it was a good way to introduce 2 new characters.
I mean, I actually think they could have done more with the characters, but they fully brought them. I have an understanding of both of them after the the ship episode.
The Titanic?
I was wrong.
Yes.
I don't know what you mean, Delaron. I still have no clue what the fuck Fred is.
I just don't think there's going to be a lot to him. That's what I don't want. I don't want Watson to be Sherlock's Fred.
I think Watson's gonna be more of a focus in Sherlock's life because you see Sherlock hand him the note. Which I'm assuming
I forgot about that. He picked something gold up, yeah.
Yeah, because he hands it to Watson. So I'm assuming while the fucker is interrogating Sherlock, Watson's gonna have to deduce who's doing it, who did this, which is a man that Moriarty found who has a large finger width. Because the way Sherlock deduces this was someone else's, it was masterfully set up, but the person who did it almost seemed like he wasn't even aiming, and the finger width was too big for the Count's finger. So he deduced that there was someone who set everything up and ordered someone else to do it that was an amateur. And had large fingies.
Large fingies.
Do you think they're going to say the classic Sherlock Holmes saying?
It's elementary, my dear Watson?
Yeah, do you think they're gonna just throw that in as a joke at some point?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
They've already dropped It's Elementary on the boat, and now they drop the "well, it's obvious, can't you see?" thing in during the investigation.
I'm just happy they didn't give Sherlock that stupid detective's hat that he sometimes has.
No, you don't understand. That is gonna come later.
I feel like he's going to wear it at one point, but only for a episode, and probably only for maybe the first quarter, or somewhere halfway through where he just picks it up off a coat rack.
It's such a stupid
hat rack.
I hate that kind of hat. Anyways.
I do want to.
Watson's hat, I love it. He's got a great little bowler there.
He's got a bowler hat. Got bolded.
I also loved his cane.
Ready to hold up cards, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, meep, roof.
Hmm?
You sounded like you sounded like a motorboat queuing up.
Are we ready to hold up cards, ladies and gents, is what I said.
One thing before we hold up cards. So, picture this. Close your eyes and picture it. Now, would you kindly picture this?
Bingies.
Albert, in that same lighting as we see the end of the ending song and theme, having to sacrifice himself so that William and Lewis could get away, laying there, his chest broken open, the red blood dripping down his ripped shirt and torso, contrasting with his pale skin, his eyes glowing green in the light as his last final words escape, his hair matted and strands drooping over his face in his final moment.
Is that your fan fiction?
It's not my fan fiction, it's what I totally see them doing to Albert because they're not giving him anything else.
They're not giving anyone but Moriarty anything, is the thing.
Well, I'm ready to hold up cards.
Just
I'll
gonna...
go first.
Oh, okay.
I'm holding up the eggplant. I'm glad we got a whole episode to introduce Sherlock proper, along with Watson and everyone else from the home side of the story. Lestrade, the douchebag, detective assistant, or whoever the fuck he is, Mrs. Hudson. What's his name? Sebastian, or his friend, his doctor friend, who introduces him to Watson. But yeah, we got all those characters introduced. Yeah, in one way or another. So far, this is a very good anime adaptation of the source material. Holmes' deductive powers does make it seem like Moriarty fucked this up as well. Too sloppy, or at least just too eager to prove himself clever. So once again, I find myself simultaneously rooting for and against our main character being William James Moriarty, but we'll see where it goes. But in the meantime, this show is really good. It does a good job.
I think this show does a good way of portraying that Moriarty has a lot of book knowledge and, learning smarts, while as Sherlock has a lot of practical smarts. I'm gonna fuck this show. I'm gonna stick my eggplant into Sherlock.
Well then.
The real Sherlock or your imagined female Sherlock?
Yes.
I'm gonna fuck this show. It continues to make me happy as it has been. It is nice to watch. It is fun to watch. And now there's a female character to court because Miss Hudson got it going on.
Miss Hudson's a cutie.
She is.
All right.
I've said my piece.
Yeah, it seems like we are still in agreement when it comes to Sherlock.
Yes. And our next show is Ikebukuro Westgate Drive, or Westgate Park. Sorry, not Westgate Drive. It's a different show. In this, Ikebukuro Westgate Park, episode 3.
A kid fucking dies.
Balcony. Sir, can I read my synopsis, please?
Yes.
A child falls off the balcony of a roof, and Makoto is requested to keep an eye on the family by the Red Angels. He does, and thwarts a sex trafficker from putting her in the industry. He learns that because of the stress, she has been hitting her son, so Makoto's mother says to give him away while she finds work and saves up money. Okay, was I the only one that thought that was the one father's grandson from episode 4 who fell off the balcony?
At the beginning, yeah, I did. I thought so too.
Yeah, I thought they just straight up killed that kid, and I was like, that's an interesting way to bring this character back.
I I thought they were hinting that the kid might like fall off the balcony and die, but I didn't think they would fucking do it. Like Jesus, fuck. And then the kid hits the bushes. The kid hits the bushes and just it transitions into the opening song, and I'm just sitting there, my mouth, like my jaw agape.
You forgot one thing. You hear the wet slap like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon.
They just fucking kill the. He's not actually dead. We learn shortly after, but like, they kill a kid in the opening scene and just play it off into the opening, and I'm just sitting there like, Jesus.
This episode.
You gotta sit and wonder.
This episode tries to play off a couple of serious things.
I don't think it played anything off. I think this is a difference in culture.
I guess, but when we get to the end, I will speak about my biggest problem with this episode.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the opening just leaves me ajar, and I forever have this amazing image of just a anime kid falling off the balcony. Just no context. Just post this screenshot somewhere, guys, and just see how people react. But one thing I did notice is that last episode, there was a power struggle in Ikebukuro that was squashed by the Red Angels throwing in their lot with the G-Boys. G-Boys! And this time, it was the Red Angels who were coming to Makoto for help and asking him to do a job for them, which further shows their presence and growing power in Ikebukuro.
I mean, they did that before though with the YouTuber.
That was G-Boys. That wasn't Red. That was not the Red Angels.
Was it? And why was the Red Angels kid with them for that?
He wasn't.
No, he was, because they were in the ramen shop with Hacker Dude.
Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. That detail escapes me. I feel like the Red Angels were involved before, but like nothing like this. Not like they were the one asking for a job.
Makoto's mother got to be a bit more of a character in this episode.
We got some emotional and like moral depth, and like we got like emotional depth and like moral gray, like the line of black and white being blurred to gray here a lot this episode.
Can't pay for your child? Just throw them away.
That's not. See, I knew this was gonna come up.
I know that's not what she said. I know that's not what she said, but it's still funny to think about.
Yeah, it don't get me wrong, man. It hit me really weird too. Like I saw that and I was like, well, first of all, the one thing I will agree with you, Meep, is like, should they have? One thing I think I would be agreeing with you, Meep, is if I said, did they really have to have that conversation in front of the kid?
Yeah, did they really have to, have the kid be beat by? I thought the implication was that it was the boyfriend that beat him, but no, They straight up say, "Oh, I just get so frustrated with him." Those are not light bruises. Those are not like bruises of yanking your kid. Those are bruises of smacking or hitting, which it just gets played off so casual, or not casually, but it just gets played off and not really addressed. Like there was abuse there, but it's like, oh, okay, just give your kid to someone else for a little bit and then save up. Like, okay, but that's not how we should be dealing with this problem. Like, because no matter what, as someone that knows people that have and occasionally was hit as a kid, that fucks with children. That will fuck their growth and development and viewment of their parents.
There's a difference between being hit and being beaten, and it was implied that after the fucking gangster boyfriend entered the scene, she started becoming much more violent with him, and it was implied that he egged her on to do it. But before, she also has hit him before she just gets so frustrated. And this wasn't a good situation. They found the best ending, in my opinion, for the cultural context in which they live in Japan. You have a woman who has been abandoned multiple times, who is exhausted day to day, and is entering a real state of desperation. And the thing is, though, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that hitting your kid is good or condemn a parent for hitting their kid when they are behaving out of control or misbehaving terribly. Because, like, we saw earlier in this episode what happens when you just condemn someone on one action without context of this whole story and everything that's been going on. Um, because this episode did touch a lot of stuff, like how the internet has this like tendency for people to just like see a parent fuck up and just condemn them and send them death threats and be like, yeah, there's no other term for it. It's just condemnation, um, and how that could destroy someone. Like, she works every single day from 10 in the evening to 5 in the morning to provide for her and her son, and people are gonna say that she shouldn't be a parent. Like, she fucked up. There's no doubt about it. But I, while I don't agree with how things were done in this episode, I understand why they were done the way they were, and it's a hard fucking situation and issue. And the fact that this show is even able to like end it somewhere coherent is impressive in my book.
Honestly, watching through it, they didn't really just play it off. They addressed it very seriously, and she didn't say give your kid away. She said give him up until you can sort yourself out.
Yeah, she called her out hard.
She was not. This was not a casual thing. She was very blunt and serious about it. You. She was very straightforward. You can't take care of your child right now. You don't have the emotional, physical, or mental capacity to do it at this point. Send them somewhere where I already know a social worker. You can take. They can go somewhere where they can be somewhere good until you can figure yourself out. Which is, in a situation, the best thing that she could try to do.
This
I
episode,
was I was very happy with how they went about it and addressed it.
this episode just made me think a rumor I heard once is now true. I once heard a rumor that babysitting is actually an illegal business in Japan, and this episode just makes me think that's true.
I That's something that would have to be researched because, like the
It
show
would.
talks about, it's not, wild accusations can go really awry.
And also, I liked how the show addressed the, well, predatory nature of the sex industry.
Yeah, my God, like, we already had a volatile situation. Then they threw someone who scams women into working in the sex industry. Oh, speaking of that though, old man cop, the chief detective, I like him.
Oh, yeah,
The way he got
he
extremely
made
like,
his reappearance.
yeah, in a good way. Like, he seemed really inept. Not as inept as the police in Yukoku no Moriarty, because wow, those people suck. But here, like, he seemed like, oh, we can't book him anything. And then Makoto comes in and gets him, pretends that he himself is like yakuza or a gangster, and is like, oh, Aniki, let's go for drinks, and has him spill his guts all over the tell the truth basically. It was, and the way the police chief reacted, like, he was, he tried to keep face and be like, all right, you're under arrest, give your phone, and then he just lost it for that one scene, like 2 seconds of just his contempt for this criminal showed, and then he composed himself, and I'm like, this is a man who's dealt with criminals his whole life. He's a career policeman. I respect this man. I mean, if you guys are crying about the scene with the kid and the mom, you guys don't have to mute yourselves.
You'd think I'd cry at this show.
I teared up a little bit when the little kid runs up to his mom and it's just like, "It's not your fault. I love you, mom. It's not your fault." And I'm just like, the kid. He's like what, 3, 4?
It's kind of exactly her fault, though, isn't it?
No, dude. Why are you blaming the victim in all of this?
Well, that scene happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. That scene happened. It didn't happen before, because that scene was directly addressing the hitting aspect, right? Or was it addressing the other aspect?
It was addressing everything. It addressed the fact that Makoto picked up on contention from the mother toward her child because she wasn't able to handle it emotionally. It was addressing the fact that she was gullible, that she's desperate, that she's contemplating suicide. It addressed everything in one fell swoon, and it showed that, like, while she made mistakes with her kid and that she regrets laying her hand on him the way she did and that she hates herself even more now, his mother expressing that Makoto's mother herself, gave Makoto away, which isn't clear if that's actually true or if she made that up on the spot to kind of help this woman out.
She had a whole thing where she said it's not a story that she likes to tell. She said that to
Yeah,
Makoto, and it
yeah.
was just to him. So honestly, say one thing about that. That actually clarifies a little bit for me about the whole adoption of the other of the girl.
Oh,
That
with his little
that actually
sister that
makes
is
that
never
make a little
around.
bit more sense to me now. Why she'd be so willing to do so.
You know what? That's a really good point. That's a really good point there, Gilly.
Like that, as soon as I stop, like, that make a lot more sense.
Because we did feel like that was really out of nowhere, kind of like a compassion that she could have extended to so many other people, but it just conveniently came up in this, in this context. But yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
Well, since that scene is addressing everything, and apparently I'm misremembering, let me clarify what I mean. What I mean when I say it's exactly her fault is it's exactly her fault for hitting her child. No one else, no one else makes you do that. When you choose to do the action of hitting or hurting your child, that is on you, in my opinion. As
This
someone that
is
has been hit as a child.
yeah, and I have as well, and I've had to have conversations with family members about those moments, and many people aren't lucky enough to get that opportunity. But this is a very tricky and gross topic because there are terrible living situations where parents abuse their children to like, and it's inexcusable. Um, and in this situation, it was kind of like called into question, and then when they realized she doesn't hate her child, and it's not a good situation. There's no good guy, bad guy here. It's just a horrible difficulty on all sides. There are people that I know that have to deal with abuse from within their household, and it's not the same. And each person's situation is different, and very rarely is there an excuse. And I don't think at the end they made one for the mother. It's just bad. It's just bad.
What the? Ah, fuck! I didn't. Damn it!
What?
I just saw what Gilly said. Sorry.
He's putting up the votes, and he wrote your name and his name, but rather than my name, it just says fuck.
Because I was
It's my new
writing.
name now.
I started
fuck.
writing for. I started writing for Jujutsu Kaisen, and I put fuck for all of ours. Because why bother with the farce? But
Because we're putting on a show, Meep, and the illusion is part of the reason why people like to watch.
yeah, well, they're in our Discord.
I'd like to say hello and greetings from Fuck. That is my new name.
I am Fuck.
Goddamn.
Pleasure to meet you.
Oh yeah, one thing I did want to specify. Oh, sorry.
So, and this is gonna sound really bad. There was one thing that I laughed at and I shouldn't have in this episode,
The child falling out
and
the
that
window.
was when you see the mom with her kid again, and she has like the new clothes. My immediate thought, and I know how bad this is, but my immediate thought was, why does this hooker have the child? And then they talked about it being her and thinking she's being pulled into sex work, and I laughed because I felt bad that was my thought. I was like, oh no. It's the type of clothing that my
also, one
brain
thing I do wanna say.
associates with, because that's what they like. That's what they always show in like movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
Or streetwalkers is all. It's like clothing like that.
Oh, also, I do want to clarify because I didn't earlier. Spanking and hitting or spanking and abuse, I don't personally see as the same thing.
I want to clarify that too. There's a difference between reprimanding and like a physical punishment and beating and abusing your kid. There's a very clear-cut line, and some people refuse to acknowledge it, but it needs to be acknowledged.
Because I fully believe in spanking because I've seen how it actually works well. One of my sisters does spank their kids, and their kids behave and they learn from their mistakes. The other does timeouts, puts them in corners, and those kids are the worst behaved kids I've ever seen.
Then again, just for content's sake, none of us here are parents, so we speak from an onlooker's position.
Does it count if I'm a stepdad?
I'm a stepdad and an older brother to many little ones, so yeah, we have some familiarity, but like I said, it's a really complicated thing. But it is important at the end of the day to realize the distinction between physical discipline, which still needs to be, done with, careful, and abuse when you are, abusing your child. You are not doing it for their betterment, but to hurt them and make them do what you want, like that.
Yeah, don't think we're sitting here going bust out the belt. No.
But what if she asks nicely, Meep?
Well, then you can spank your girlfriend all you want. I'm talking about spanking children.
Don't worry, Dalaran. We'll get to things like that when we get to Fruit Tart.
Can we hold up cards, please?
I don't like that was said.
I'm gonna kill this show.
Are you killing Fruit Tart or Ikabuko to Westgate Park?
Yes. Oh, I'm getting McDonald's ad on my Twitch now.
Well,
what have you done?
I'm gonna fuck this show because personally, I was already enjoying this show, and I feel like it's actually entered this uptick where I actually am enjoying it even more than I was prior. I'm really liking how they're doing things. Just having a good time.
Yeah, I'm with Gilly. I'm fucking this show. We didn't talk at all about the Red Angels. They kind of took this presence where it's just like, oh, we care about this woman because she's one of my fans, and then they dropped this bit about main boy, Red Angel boy, being like his parents died in an automobile or traffic accident in Chicago, and he had to grow up on his own in the streets. Also, we saw some sadistic sides of him, so I'm like, all right, cool. Like, there's still shit brewing, which is cool because the show is showing us complications ahead of time, so it doesn't feel blindsided when it comes up. because he's just like his sadism and is like comes out, and he's just like, if it was up to me, I'd line up all the people who are bad mouthing this woman and shoot them with the machine gun. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Also,
That gave me any cheeky vibes.
speaking of the Red Angels, before I go into my closing thoughts, what was up with that weird, like, porn game music that they were playing for the flashback when they were showing the relationship of the mother and the kid with the Red Angels?
Porn game music.
Yeah, it
No.
sounded like in the flashbacks. It just sounded like something you would hear on like a 18 plus flash game. No, just me. Just
I mean,
me.
I don't. I mean, I just if I need to get my rocks off Valorant, I just watch. I watch a video. I don't play a game.
Hey man, I discovered Newgrounds as a teenager, and let's just say I got a lot of mileage out of that site. Anyway, this is this is like a surprisingly solid episode. I know Meep and I disagree on this, but I was really worried that they would fumble the ending, but they actually brought it back to a satisfying and, more importantly, coherent conclusion. Like the ending, like Meep says, ties it up in a nice little bow, but I mean, it's as nice of a bow as you could have for something like this, because just oof.
It's nice in this. It's a nice bow in the sense that it's like it has a conclusion, but it's not really nice. Nice.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
good
not.
that things are gonna work themselves out eventually.
But I
It's gonna
respect.
take time.
Exactly. Yeah, we're hoping that they get the same story that Makoto and his mother got. But, you know, the only way this could have been nicer is if the mother's like, I'm sorry, I'm going to try. Like, they didn't cop out. They stuck. They stuck to the reins of this really hard ride. That came out wrong. Phrasing. Point is, this is a messy situation, and I got to learn more again about how people in Japan handle these kinds of situations, or can handle these situations. Like, many people suffer and have to deal with this dismissive attitude that many take against them for like fucking up as a parent, and I don't think that's exclusive to Japan. Because I've seen it in Russia, I've seen it in America, I've seen it in many places around the world. And that results in these people who are being cars. It results in these people who are being ridiculed and like condemned to feel ashamed, and as a result trapped in their life to continue making the same mistakes and bad decisions, which are only going to get worse because they're driven to desperation even more so than their life was already doing for them. And the worst thing is, and like this is something that I really appreciate about this, because like working in the mental health field and pursuing a psychology degree, there are people, especially in these kind of situations, who need the social programs the most, are often not aware of them because they won't even look because they're so ashamed, or many other feelings that are stopping them from seeking the help they so need, whether it be counseling for their own mental well-being, which the mother obviously needs, or relief like social support, where it's like daycares programs, or food, or no interest loans to mothers who single parents who need to pay the bills. Like I said this 100 times. So like this is a complicated fucking issue, and multiple issues, and I think this episode handled it really well.
What it would have been. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no.
I was just gonna say. Want to know what?
Just to finish my thought, and then I'll pass it right back. I'll lay off the mic. This episode gets the fuck from me. I think it did. I think it took on something incredibly difficult, challenging, and complicated, and it handled it in a way that didn't make anyone really look like a good guy here, because it was incredibly morally gray, except for Makoto. We're back to Makoto being a super nice guy, so I don't know what the fuck they were talking about last episode.
Wanna know what would have been the biggest cop out for this episode?
If the kid died in the first opening.
No, then we wouldn't have had as many problems as we did.
If Makoto's mom offered to take him,
Oh my god.
No, actually, that one.
Oh, meep, you robot it.
Wanna know what I think it would have been if
What's up?
the Red Angel guy was, hey, hey. Oh, how about now?
Yeah,
Okay.
if the Red Angel.
biggest cop out would have been if the Red Angel guy was like, yeah, the Red Angel guy was like, hey, baby, I was secretly in love with you, and I'll take in your kid, and we'll date. Which is what I was fearing, because it's like, he's really invested in this. Is he gonna offer to take the kid and date her?
No. But imagine that actually did happen. And then in the season finale, we see the kid come out like a child soldier with like a bucket on his head and like an AK in his hands.
hey,
I told
You
you
know
we
what's
were gonna kill the machine gun.
what's funny is I actually thought the leader of the Red Angels and the mom did have something going on because it was giving me those vibes.
Yeah.
Especially
I
like the
mean-
way she talked about how every time she saw him dance, she had to just sit and watch and couldn't go anywhere.
Oh,
Exactly.
she.
I was waiting for like at the end it'd be like, no, you don't have to give up your child, as he just Sherlocks into the scene and does like one of those dips and dance twirls. It's like, I'll take care of him for you.
Oh, she definitely fantasized herself to sleep many a nights to him. That's no doubt. But, he just he never seemed interested to me.
Do you think he's a cuddler, or do you think he's the big spoon?
You mean the Red Angel dude? I think he's got like a cross rack, an X rack, and like other things in his house. I'm
I feel like
worried.
he's a
I'm
restless
worried.
sleeper.
Yeah, I'm worried that the Red Angel dude read 50 Shades of Grey and was like, ah, I want to be like him.
Ah, yes, the kid wants to be him.
No, not the kid.
Anyways,
That's not what I meant.
That's not what he said, Meep. Don't take it that way.
what I thought you said that the kid would like to be like, dancer like the Red Angel dude.
No, I said the Red Angel leader, whose name escapes me at the moment, which the show really loves. Like, they're like, oh my god, he's so charismatic, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, creepy, but okay. And I was saying the leader of the Red Angels strikes me as the kind of guy that read 50 Shades of Grey and was like, oh, I want to be like him.
Oh, okay. That's where my mistake was. I heard red, and my main mind went to Red Angel.
Yeah,
I didn't
the
think
leader of the Red
like,
Angels.
Reading a book. No, I didn't. My brain didn't register red as in reading a book.
Uh,
So I thought you like, yeah, the kid wants to be a dancer like the Red Angel dude. I was like, anyway,
Ladies and
we
gentlemen,
held up our
the
card.
English language.
I wish I could dance as beautifully as he does.
Fucking Itachi dancing.
Dancing like he's from Footloose. But gentlemen, are we ready to move on to Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yes, let's talk about
Always.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
In
We got to
Jujutsu
talk about
Kaisen,
Juju.
episode 9. In Jujutsu Kaisen, episode 9, the boy from the last episode speaks with the curse who killed the 3 high school boys and asked if he could learn to do that too, because he was bullied by the boys. Itadori asks businessman, Itadori and businessman find 2 curses that used to be human. And at the end, Itadori goes to find the boy, while businessman locates the human curse.
So I think there is a lot to unpack with this episode
There is.
because they had some interesting like lore and history drops that I was not like thinking were going to happen.
Really?
I the reason why I call this boy Sasuke, he's sitting there wanting to learn how to be a curse user, which is the name for people who use jujutsu for evil. He is also the same boy we see the opening focus on with Itadori. I'm afraid he's gonna be the Sasuke who ends up being like, oh man, I want to be a good guy, but I want to kill all the bullies, so I'm gonna be evil.
I mean, to be fair, those bullies were fucking awful.
They deserved it, but still.
Talking about him though, there's one thing that they did a fantastic job introducing his character, because after you see him getting his shit stomped, he's like, if I had the choice to push a button and kill everyone that I hate, I probably wouldn't do it. But if I had the choice to push a button and kill everyone who hated me, I would not hesitate for a second. And I'm like, that's everything you need to know about him.
And his fucking comeback to that girl is like, you're not as pretty as everyone thinks you are. They're just doing it because they think you'll let them bang you. Punch.
Yeah, you're not as pretty as you think you are. The only reason they like you is because they think you're gonna fucking let them bang. And you know damn well that if they could have said fuck there, they would have.
Honestly, this is one of the few moments. This is one of the few moments where they could have probably used. The only reason they simp so hard for you is because they think you'll bang them. It's like one of the few moments where that would be acceptable.
That girl had some, like, to be fair though, those high school boys weren't wrong. She does have some pretty big fucking knockers.
She does, but did you see her face?
I was too
did.
busy paying attention to how fucking awful they are as human beings to think about that.
I was too busy staring at her tits.
And there you got the range. And there you go,
was not
ladies and
looking
gentlemen.
very
You now
good.
have the range of character attraction from the table.
Listen, if they're pretty enough, hey, one-time things are okay.
I do like that we got to see a little bit more of. I think it's like Mahito, which is very interesting because he does clarify himself as a human curse. Just a very strong one.
Yep. It's not implied that he was born from this kid, right?
No, I'm not getting that because he talked about it and he said, I think the reason he connects to the kid is his formation. Tell him what he is very similar to what the kid is dealing with.
Yeah, he's a curse born from the hate humans have towards other humans. And interesting lore drop, Jogo, Hanami, and the squid are humans' fear towards the land, the ocean, and the forest.
Yeah.
That lore drop I was not ready to get. Like, so they're basically the elemental concept of fear.
I thought that was really cool. Like, they're the primal
thought it-
fears of humans, of like human nature.
I'm not saying it's not cool. I just didn't think that's what we were going to be learning.
I just didn't.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't pick up on that. I am like it makes total sense
now.
Yeah. Like,
I
maybe
can't
if we
believe
saw the squid
I can't believe that the three evil demons curses is Kyogre, Rayquaza, and Groudon.
Which one is Rayquaza?
It was the Emerald.
Air.
It's air, so it doesn't actually work, but I just wanted to make a Pokemon reference.
I mean, there could very well be a curse that was born from the fear of heights. Fuck, now that I say that, that's clever.
It's there was a lot of fun stuff. The lore being learned was actually really nice and well done. The fight, while brief, was very nice.
Yeah, and next week it seems like we're gonna get a much bigger fight because
I do find it interesting how God, nope, I haven't pulled up. I can find his actual name. I have the wiki pulled up so I can remember Mr. Glass's name because I keep forgetting it.
Was it Kenjo?
Nanami. Kento Nanami.
Kendo.
Yeah, I like the way that he seems to think about this with like critical hits. I thought that was fun.
I love him and his interaction with Gojo in the Jujutsu Stroll.
So first of all, the Jujutsu Stroll is amazing. We'll get to that. But yeah, Gilly. So he just plays he plays Undertale against everything he fights, right?
That's what it felt like. He thinks about things in like video game logic, which is very interesting in terms he thinks about fighting in video game logic, which I find really interesting and fun.
He's just a big
Yeah,
nerd that plays Undertale.
He, I don't know where you're getting the Undertale thing from.
Because you have to line up the shot, right? There's like a bar, and you have to hit critical if you hit it like off center.
That's where he's getting the Undertale thing from.
Undertale didn't start that though. If anything, it seemed like more Pokemon to me with the critical hit, or like more FPS to me, where it's like, oh, you gotta hit it in its weak spot, Jimbo. You know, he's really interesting. Like he was going to school for Jujutsu Sorcerer. Then he's like, this is shit. Then he went to work and he's like, this is shit. So I'm gonna go back to what I was started. And while he has respect for Gojo, he doesn't like him. Or no, it's while he is what was it?
He acknowledges Gojo's power and that he's a good guy. He doesn't respect him. But I love this simple, fucking dead inside, cool glasses, megalovania man.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to bring this up, and this was, it felt kind of fourth wall-y to me, but that's why I loved it. The fact that Itadori's like, what is it with all these powerful guys and wearing eye coverings? I feel like that's what as an anime community we think about with a lot of anime a lot, and he just asks that question right there.
Is Itadori our... We thought Minwa is our self-insert because the Gojo fangirl, but is Itadori our actual fan insert? The
He's
viewer
the
insert?
questions that we ask ourselves.
Yeah.
I couldn't help. That made me laugh. It felt really funny to me.
Yeah,
also, we got to see casual Gojo.
Casual Gojo's hot. That's literally the first thing I said to myself when I saw him. Like, oh no, he's hot. I always thought he was pretty, but damn.
A strong front runner for waifu / husbando for me.
Do like even his casual thing. He's not wearing the blindfold, but he has like the glasses that are actually really nice.
So
just wearing shades.
If his eyes are out of state of infinity, like if his eyes are, hello?
Yeah, from the top.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just saying. Is it a thing of like when his eyes aren't covered, his like infinity domain comes out? Does that mean when he was born, he just sent the doctor to the domain of infinity?
Doctor pulls out the baby, cuts the umbilical cord, turns him around. Oh, I am tripping out.
Did he send his mom to the domain of infinity when she was pregnant with him?
Is that why he was with his grandpa? Mom and dad got oh wait, no, I'm mixing up Itadori with Gojo's backstory.
You're a completely different character.
I don't know why, but I get but with his eye coverings, I always get this. I get this weird kind of vibe of he has to dull his senses so he's not too aware of everything at all times. I don't
Possible.
know. It just gives me that feel.
Fair. So, jumping around actually to the last part of the episode, I have a question.
Sup?
So when Itadori and the sorcerer who doesn't have any cursed energy, not Maki, but what's his face, when they go out and you see him come back and he's like, "You already know where the curse is, don't you? You just don't want Itadori to tag along." And then Zebra Man just says, yes, the risk of taking him with me is too great." And then Itadori comes back, he's like, "Hey yo, stay safe." Did anyone else pick up that was I wrong in getting the insinuation that Itadori knows that he knows where the curse is?
I don't think Itadori's that clever. I think they were just showing that this man, despite being kind of a stuck up asshole and kind of like a grouch, genuinely cares and takes his role as Itadori's supervisor and like senior very seriously. And then we got the second side of that coin where Itadori comes back and despite them not clicking and obviously not clicking, Itadori himself says like, "Man, we are not finding common ground." Comes back and still says like, "Hey man, don't die. Stay safe."
Yeah, their dynamic is really interesting because Businessman is like, even if you're strong, even if you're Sukana's vessel, I am still an adult and you are a child.
And I also don't acknowledge you as a sorcerer until you prove yourself as one. We needed that
And
rigidity.
Itadori has this cool.
Itadori's
Yeah,
just
which leads us
crying.
into the fight. Finally seeing the type of fighting style Itadori has developed.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy this.
Getting thrown around until he punches.
No,
It's a
this.
whole. I like the way they describe it with the divergent punch.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
it's a punch but the cursed energy is not infused in the immediate hit. It comes afterwards, a second after, flowing through after the immediate punch, and that is just very. I like it. It fits him very well.
Yeah, so like
So his cursed
Itadori
energy.
already has a lot of like he even says like his natural ability is superhuman strength. And then the curse
Yeah, he
energy
said
comes
he
up.
has, what is it? I think he said he has 120% the standard strength,
No, I
something like that,
remember
of a standard Jujutsu sorcerer.
I remember that being like he can hit with 100% of his strength, and then his curse energy follows up and bursts with another 120 on top of that. That's what I remember.
It's a it was very just it was very interesting, and it fits like the character very well, which it makes sense now that I think about it. They talk about his martial arts, and I'm realizing I think I don't know why I didn't think about it till now that he might actually be martial arts trained. I don't know what type, but it would
Probably
explain a lot of how he actually moves around and fights. So he has a very fluid way of doing it.
I think he's
yeah,
just
his
puncho
grandpa probably
puncho.
made him take karates or judo at some point.
I mean, he does excel in like athletics, so
Yeah. It never crossed my mind until they specifically mentioned martial arts. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I didn't think about that until now.
yeah, I look forward to maybe him actually taking martial classes, and as this shonen continues season to season, us seeing him get more martial arts. My pronunciation is weird today. Getting
Martial
more martial
arts.
arts. Oh yeah, there,
You
bud.
in?
Gonna
Yeah,
get that
martial
martial
arts there,
arts
bud.
there. Oh yeah,
Gotta
there.
go
You know,
for
you're
a
earning your
rip
black belt there. It's super there, bud.
I will say with Nanami, the Mr. Glasses, I like how they just decided to show off how strong he was by having him cut that thing's arms and legs off with the back end of the blade while it was still wrapped up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, this is how strong he is. He doesn't even have to unwrap or use the sharp side.
I think that was the whole point, because he was saying, even me, without physical strength or immense curse energy, I can cut people down for maximum damage by basically critting them, even with like my dull blade. And I thought that was cool.
His
Oh.
cursed ability is weighted dice.
There's something I have to say that is so fucking weird to me. So, we have Gojo, and we have Jogo. We have Nanami, and we have Hanami.
Yeah, the
Because
name.
Hanami is the curse, and Nanami is the sorcerer. It feels so weird to me. I feel like
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
a little
reason,
forced.
or it might just be convenient.
There's also
And then-
Mia
and
and
then we're gonna
Mila.
Then we're gonna have the octopus curse. And then
He's
there's gonna
still
be the Jujutsu sorcerer.
Speaking of the fight
You know,
Yes,
itself,
we're going to have Zoidberg and Boydzerg.
I hate what you just said.
Ah,
Zoidberg, the best sorcerer.
Versus Boydzerg, the greatest curse. Boydzerg, Sukuna's father.
Let's talk about the Jujutsu stroll.
Hold on, really quick, before we get to the stroll. So, in regards to the fight, I immediately was like, no, guys, you're getting distracted by those two curses. And then when they're fighting it, less so the green one, but the white one that Itadori was fighting, when he punched the hole in him and then the second hole exploded because of his secondary curse follow-up, and then they showed the zoom-in shot on it laying on the floor, gripping the wound, the hole in its chest, crying. I'm like, why? What are you doing, show? Why are you making me feel bad for the curses? What is happening? Stop! And then immediately after that, they're like, wait a minute. These aren't curses, these are people. Because we didn't touch upon that at all, that Mr. Scarface McReaper Boy's ability is to transform humans into cursed creatures. And
Yeah, which is apparently a thing that they have never seen before.
I think they've seen it very rarely. It's like it's immensely powerful.
I was gonna say, if it was something that they never saw before, I feel like there'd be a lot more surprise. It seems like it's a rare occurrence.
Like there's a little science on it. That's why Doctor said she needs to see each case by case, because this is such a rare occurrence that they don't have any like context and science. They don't have science on it.
Do you think Geto has the same power?
I don't think so.
I just expect the show to be more diverse with its powers.
Yeah, the show seems like it, for the most part, it likes to make sure everyone has something special going on with what they can do.
Everyone glows blue though.
um, before I get, this is something I want to bring up before we get the Jujutsu stroll. What's our opinion on the weird little penis monsters inside the cage?
What?
The thing that Itadori was carrying in the cage, their head, that does not seem subtle to me.
I don't
The
know,
shape of its
man.
head.
I did not pick up on that. I will have to watch that back.
Meep, how does it feel to be on the other end of the? I don't know about that, bud.
It feels warm. Darren, can you please stop grinding up against me?
I don't know.
All right. Okay. You get one handful there, Mister.
I didn't. Well, Meep talks to his cats. I didn't get that vibe, Gilly. I just saw two weird fucky wuckies inside of a cage, a cursed cage, which surprised no one is looking at them carrying such a unique cage. And I can't wait for this to all go terribly wrong next episode because they still haven't shown his face.
It's probably made of. I have a feeling it's probably made of pure curse energy, so they probably can't see anything. It just looks like he's holding air.
Oh, could be. But I'm excited how it goes wrong. They haven't shown the kid's face, so that could very well be Mr. Scarface Reaper Boy. So who knows? It's weird. Speaking of Scarface Reaper Boy, I'm gonna switch to his still really quick. He reminds me of someone. Like in my notes, my very first notes, I'm like, what'd I say? Who does this guy remind me of? Like, who does he look like? He looks like another anime character, and I can't place who. Hello?
And then I'm over here, and then I'm over here remembering. Oh yeah, the devil is a part timer was a thing.
Mm. He does not look like the main character.
Hmm?
He does not look like the main
I
character.
think Gilly is talking about...
No, it looks like Lucifer.
Oh my fucking god, you're right, he does! Yes, that's exactly what it is! Look at him with his fucking sad boy haircut and the bangs. And being a piece of shit.
The main character is the devil, which weird thing in Bible culture. Sometimes, or not Bible, but in fucking Catholic or Christian
biblical lore,
mythos. It sometimes Lucifer is the devil. Sometimes he's only a general. I don't care for religion, so I don't really follow it much. Also, yes, I see it, Gilly.
What the fuck did you post in chat, Gilly?
That's what was in the cage.
Okay, yeah, that looks like a penis.
I see it there. I guess I didn't pick up on it in the episode. I'll have to go watch it back.
It looks like a Goomba if a Goomba was as phallic as it was intended to be.
There are two different things in the cage, and this is one of them. I can't remember what the other one is.
It was like an eyeball with wings.
I just know my brain got drew to this.
Is this the thing you said you were... Is this thing you said that you don't think they'd show on the actual anime? Because I remember you were looking...
didn't think they would, no.
Speaking of things that you don't think would show on an anime...
the Jujutsu Stroll. That was hilarious, because for a chat, the Jujutsu Stroll was... It was a bunch of... It was Gojo and the businessman, and
Kento.
Gojo was like,
Nanami.
"Hey, yeah, Nanami." He was like, "Hey, go on a date with me." Then he's like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, but I really have to talk to you about something." And the rest of the stroll is Gojo trying to get his attention. Till Hanami opens a note from him, and it's just a drawing of a dick, and it says penis.
Accompanied with elephant sound effects. I swear to God, they're just seeing what shit they can get away with. I sent that to my friend.
Oh my God.
I sent the image of him holding the note, and it says "open please," and I sent it to my friend, and I'm like, "Do you open it?" And she was like, "Yes." And then I sent the penis part, and she responded like deadpanned, "I don't believe this is actually from the show."
It was so good, and it's so hard to tell because with how the characters are in Jujutsu Kaisen, a lot of the time the Jujutsu strolls don't feel like they are canon, and it freaks me out.
The only one I can say for certain I don't think is canon is the one where he's kicking where they're kicking JoJo's head around, or Jogo.
Jogo. You've done it again, me.
No,
You've
it's
summoned the
Dio.
Jojo.
It's Dio that gets his head cut off, not JoJo.
Oh my god. Yeah, no,
But no, it's just, it was really good, and honestly, the relationship set up between Nanami and Gojo at the beginning of the episode, it feels 100% like something that would happen.
oh my god,
'Cause
Gojo.
it feels like Gojo just like thinks of like Gojo's like best friends with everybody, and Nanami's like and Nanami's like no.
When we get to best side character, it's gonna be a rough one for the
Yep.
fucking awards.
Shall we hold up cards, boys?
Do we have to?
Yeah, because we're a
Yes.
show.
I'm
fucking
fine.
the show. I'm fucking this show. Glasses ex-salesman is hella cool, while simultaneously being super lame, and he somehow pulls it off. I love him. And partially because he's probably got one of my favorite Japanese voice actors. Itadori's powers are starting to show, the plot thickens, and I'm just really looking forward to next week. It's simple, the show is good, I got a little less out of it than you two did, and I'm still along for the ride.
I'm fucking this show, there's no doubt about it. Gilly?
I'm gonna give this show the fuck.
Are you gonna
Just
give it to the
because-
green human curse or the white curse human?
Obviously the white one, Dalaran, because nothing turns me on more than detergent.
Detergent.
We didn't even talk about that it kept just saying detergent.
I felt so bad for
'Cause-
him when he's like crying in pain and fucking screaming detergent like you miserable creature.
The other one just kept saying, I think it was lunchbox, and it just kept saying detergent.
Oh my god, I absolutely love this show. But do you want to know what other show I absolutely love, guys?
Kuma Bear?
Maybe.
No. Akudama Drive, Episode 8. The rocket, after being launched, falls down to Earth, and Swindler and Sister go on the run, finding themselves in the middle of the slave den. Swindler kills two of the slavers, while Courier comes in and finishes off the third. Swindler hires him to take them to Brother, while Doctor tracks down Hoodlum and tells her that he tells her that if she saves him, he will take her to Brother. And then Doctor says she can make Hoodlum a real man. The episode ends with Cutthroat saying he will track down Swindler. So Swindler and Doctor are fucking, right? Like, that was the implication?
I think you mean Hoodlum
Swindler and
and
Doctor.
no.
Fuck! Hoodlum and Doctor.
No,
Meep,
Meep.
stop showing your fantasies with
No,
Swindler and Doctor.
Listen, I didn't feel anything like that for Swindler until she got that haircut, though.
I thought she was cuter when she looked like Twilight Sparkle, but now she's a badass. Also, I know we only got like a small glimpse into her room, but it's my headcanon that she has My Little Pony Friendship is Magic posters like up on her wall, up in her bedroom.
I absolutely loved this episode.
This episode was so good.
It had so much character development for Swindler that we needed.
And you kind of brushed over Doctor's importance. While this episode was strongly focused on Swindler and Imoto, little sister, we finally got Doctor expressing her agency, and she is someone who plays with life. That is her whole thing, including her own life. she is simultaneously chasing immortality and death, and I thought that was really cool. Also, she sucks. She's such a bitch, but like, she's not meant to be a good person. There's not, you're not
None
supposed
of
to
the
think.
Akudama are.
Yeah.
Except maybe. Nah, the hacker is morally ambiguous.
No, the hacker's not.
I mean, he steals money.
Pretty sure he would like fuck with someone's life support if it meant doing the hardest hack he's ever done.
Well, you know what? We don't see him doing that, so.
But that's the thing. This show
In
does
fact,
such a
we're probably
good
gonna-
job representing his characters that you can extrapolate those kind of scenarios, and that's what makes it so fun to talk about.
Yeah.
I-
Hoodlum.
I enjoyed. It was such a little detail, but I enjoyed when they were getting all cleaned up and dressed. That it made sure that we saw Hacker's drone that she still had.
I completely forgot about it up until that point.
Like because she hadn't done anything with it. She just sort of had it. She wasn't trying to use it. It's just a memento.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she probably doesn't even think of it as a
was such a little
weapon.
detail, but it's such a little detail, but I appreciated it being there.
She probably doesn't even know it's a weapon.
Yeah.
She probably
Also,
just
it
thinks
felt
it's like a
super-
memento, and the moment she finds out it has a gun in it, she's gonna look back to the moment with those like sex trafficking thugs and just be like, I could have done that.
This is also a little detail, but it felt super in character for Hoodlum to be like, "Oh yeah, Coke, I want that shit." Or like he wasn't like excited about it, but he was like, "Oh, that sounds nice." Then Doctor came in.
Because he's depressed.
Yeah, and yeah,
It,
his bro
his
is dead.
his bro is dead. He needs to try and move past this with hard drugs.
Hard drugs and sex with a crazy bitch.
They're not fucking me. She put him under his heel, under her heel, literally, not sexually.
She says she can make him into a real man, Dalaran.
Yeah, and
What
you also
other
thought that
thing
Doctor
Pretty sure
and
that has to do with.
And you also thought that Doctor and Courier are fucking, so make up your mind. Wait, no, change your mind.
Fuck everyone.
I think making him into a real man has to be more with getting him some real name as an Akudama.
Yeah, because
that was not the insinuation I got. She was
then you must have
stepping on
ignored
his dick.
Then you must have ignored everything she said up until that point about how all he does is lie and steal and cheat instead of actually doing something himself.
That was not the focus they were putting on in that scene. They were putting some focus in other areas.
It's not the focus.
What
I think you were looking at that focus and hoping Doctor to step. You want Doctor to step on you.
No.
You want Doctor to step on your nutsack with
Well,
her
you know what,
heels?
Dalaran? You know what, Dalaran?
I like that he roboted out for this.
Next week, when I'm right, we can revisit this moment.
Okay.
Well, Dalaran, you know what? Next week when I'm right, we can revisit this moment.
Yep. We'll come back to this.
And I have no clue what happens at the end of other episodes because I didn't have time to watch any fucking after credits this week, except for I didn't have time to watch any previews. I should specify. I watched all after credits I could, unless fucking Tuma Bear had an after credit.
There was nothing telling this week.
Just
Okay.
Doctor throws Hoodlum into a room, closes the door behind them, and you just hear Disney's "Be a man, you gotta be swift as the coursing river."
Now the next episode's gonna open up with them fucking right in that alley. Also,
This is an anime, not a hentai.
I've seen some anime get away with some things, Gilly.
I know the line is thin, but still.
They could have fan serviced Swindler, but they really didn't, because that's not her character.
Well, I mean, what would they fan
With
service?
her underwear still on.
Yeah, but it wasn't lewd, like.
No, it wasn't lewd. I just find that funny.
Also, maybe they chose not to make it lewd because it was almost immediately followed up with a like a near rape scene. So, good call.
Well, speaking of after credits and Swindler, am I the only one that thinks that Swindler cutting her hair is going to cause a little bit of troubles with Cutthroat?
I don't
Maybe
think
because
so
less
because
pink.
the colors are there's less pink, but the colors are still showing.
I know. I just feel like Cutthroat's obsession is going to start to be a little bit of a problem here. Something is just telling me deep in my soul, looking at Cutthroat in that end scene, is like, is he going to be an antagonist now? Because I feel like there's going to be a little. Because with how everything went with the whole heist now, I'm starting to wonder if he's going to take on more of an antagonist role now.
I've been saying this
Honestly,
since episode 2.
The vibe his obsession was giving me this time did not feel like did not give the same feel of this obsession I must protect. It felt a lot more the best way to protect you is to take your life myself kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he's going to be a bit more of an antagonist.
His creepy vibe took a step back towards creepy heavily.
Yeah, which, you know what? If they make him an antagonist from here, I'm actually down for that.
I mean, when you have a character like Cutthroat who has fixation, obsession, not even fixation, straight up obsession on our more or less main character, even though they're all billed as mains, um, there's not really much you can go unless they pull a wild card. And I actually trust this show to do it. Pull a wild ace and have Swindler explain to Cutthroat like she's really not interested in him being like, okay, well, have a good life. I hope you still shine as beautiful as I think you are, and just walks away. I actually see the show somehow pulling that off, but what is most likely going to happen is either Cutthroat dies or has to get killed because of his obsession with Swindler.
Why not all three?
I'm gonna cut your head off and put it in a jar so I can look at it every day.
He's gonna
God,
fuck the
Gilly.
fear turkey.
God, Gilly, he's probably gonna do that, and I don't like that. Swindler got some really good development this episode, though. Like, between, her and sister, realizing that she's now an Akudama, and having to, take a life.
Also, before we go, as chat said, they established that Cutthroat is fucking crazy.
Yes, and?
Okay. Before we go to that, before we get to the dark times, can we just take a moment to acknowledge the image on screen right now and just how fucking precious and wholesome Swindler eating with little sister is, and just how good the animation is in this show, and just how amazing their not only Swindler's character development but also their relationships development was this episode. She's so fucking cute. Look at them, they're adorable.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done gushing. We can talk about the serious shit.
Swindler fucking kills a guy with the open lid of a tuna can and then shoots someone. Shit got fucked, yo.
She did what she had to do.
I know. I'm happy that she got this development after cutting her hair. The hair was weighing her
She
down, man.
pulled the Sakura treatment, but better.
Yes.
Actually, I think Sakura's cutting her hair was one of the very few strong moments for her character throughout all of Naruto
Oh,
and Bort.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it. I like the way this one did it more.
I personally didn't get the comparison, but yeah, if you feel it, I mean, I just love the show. So
Just the drawing on one's inner strength by rejecting the thing that makes them feel softer and, in a way, just the femininity that they felt was holding them back from being able to do certain things.
Oh, is that what you got from that scene? Because for me, I
I've
just
gotten
got
that
it really.
from whenever they do that scene. That's the only feel I ever get from it.
For me, it was that she was cutting her hair so people don't recognize her. Like that's what that's the direction I took. I didn't really. I understand what you're talking about, and with Sakura's scene, I think it's actually one of my favorite scenes in Naruto. But like, I personally didn't get that vibe, but I can totally see where you're coming from, and that's awesome.
I felt it was both. She now knows she's an Akudama. She's cutting it so people don't recognize her, but it's also a resolve to protect little sister. Because, little sister calls her big sis now.
Okay, so did anyone tear up when, little sister was crying and then fucking Swindler was crying and I'm like, ah!
It was quite emotional.
Can we talk about how Pupil is now a badass with a fucking eye patch?
She's just fucking edgy.
She's great! What are you talking about?
I work alone. I don't take any more partners. I'm going to avenge my master's death. She's edgy. Sucks.
How would you feel if the person that was your mentor fucking died?
Points?
You were powerless to do anything about it.
Points at Dinnereth.
And?
She's not edgy. She's just angry. Then again, there were 5 years between when I play her and when she lost her family, so.
Exactly.
Spoilers for my players in chat. None of you heard any of that. Omitted from your memory banks.
Also, it's very possible that she doesn't want to take a partner because A, pride, and B, we saw what happened to all those executioners fighting Courier. We saw what happened. Did we not? Well, I mean, I guess the censoring was pretty bad. We probably didn't see most of it.
No, the censoring wasn't too bad. They switched to a white censor, and I got what happened. It still wasn't as... It's still bad, but it's not as bad as last episode where it, took up 40% of the fucking screen, or 30%.
Also, each time you two keep doubting the show and it delivers. Have you learned yet?
So here's the thing. While I've had a lot of good to say here, yeah, I have extremely mixed opinions on this episode.
Really? I was gonna say to Meep that I actually have that in my final thoughts, what you just said, but I'm more curious to hear what you have to say, Gilly.
Just so obviously our last episode, the whole scene of what was happening, it was gratuitous for a reason. It had everything it had for a reason. It felt so off. Like the doctor scene, every time Doctor appears on the screen, someone usually dies.
Pretty
A lot
much.
of it felt really excessive for what was happening.
I felt
I
it was
just wasn't really feeling it.
I felt it was just a nice character development for Swindler, because the focus was that she realizing she's an Akudama, and now, because at the start she's like, being with those Akudama gave me bad habits. She had to protect little sister somehow, so because even after
she said the
took her
shit
first
word.
life, even after she took a life, you see her freaking out for a moment until she realizes that there's still danger. I felt it served its purpose. Hello?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I do agree with Gilly that Doctor just got her Akudama status, revoked, and she just goes and kills a bunch of dudes again. So that was kind of stupid, but it's her character. Last episode, we talked about this, and I said it'll be stupid of her to do it, but unless she goes and retires, she still is gonna want to kill because that's what she does. And now she's the antagonist.
Yeah, she definitely. I felt very mixed. It's hard to really pinpoint a lot of my reason for feeling this way. It's how I feel about it.
And it's you're right.
I can't even to a full extent put it all to words.
Just something feels off, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Like, I know part of it is something about the the uh about the violence in this episode just felt really weird in comparison to the last one. I know that was part of it for me. But other than that, it's hard to really even fully say.
in all fairness,
I do think the whole just reaction from Courier, where he decides to take the job because of the whole speech of "there's nothing else I can do," felt it didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel like the good kind of tropey.
That was the one thing that I agree with you. That is the one part of the episode that I thought was weak. Is Courier just being like, yeah, okay. I was like,
It was very tropey, and it didn't feel like the good kind where it was done in a way that I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the violence feeling different, it did feel different, I agree, but that's because it was largely a different person doing it this time. This is the first time we've seen Swindler really do anything that isn't social.
I agree. We see two players, one of which who was never violent, and the other one who's always violent, but just didn't get the chance to be doing the killing.
Hmm? I don't know. I agree with you. This episode felt different, but I don't think it felt like a bad kind of different for me. I can't fully speak on the end scene with Courier because we don't really know anything about his background yet. So
He was Swindler's long-lost brother this whole time.
No, that's not it. I'm assuming it's something to do with like him having respect for her wanting to finish the job, quote unquote, because he always finishes his job. And you know what? She has to finish hers. Time to take her to her. Dun dun.
Dun 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 dun.
But aren't we excited for Brawler to be Terminator, remade by the Akudama, or remade by the Executioner Force?
I hope they don't fucking. If they bring him back, I hope they. Whatever. I trust this show again. It's because I have such high hopes for it.
The way they talked about Little Brother and how his cells work, I almost feel like he might come back as one of their tests to try and replicate the regeneration.
That is a smart point.
Because I feel like that's something they're going to start trying to do is replicate it.
How are they going to fit Brawler into an Executioner uniform?
Well, no, I don't think it's as much that. But if they try and replicate it and it comes out as some deformed monster, I mean, hey, at least it's an Akudama and not, someone they give a shit about.
Yeah.
Imagine I imagine they don't even fit him into a uniform. It's the uniform, but it's unbuttoned, so it's still showing his chest and abs. Because what's the point? The moment he gets excited, his clothes are gonna rip, and I don't mean it that way.
They don't even bother putting him in anything. They just put an executioner patch on his shirt, on his like vest, and leave it at that.
Fuck it.
Here
Fuck
you
it.
go.
Speaking of fucking, Gilly, are you gonna fuck this show?
We're doing this now.
If everyone's ready.
Is everyone ready?
I'm ready. Are you two ready?
I'm ready, but if Gilly, you have something else you want to talk about, let's talk about it.
No, I don't have anything else I need to talk about. I I'll go first. I am still gonna fuck this show, but it is apprehensive. It definitely has like it really, at least for me, from last episode to this one, last episode left me unsure, and this did not really alleviate that for me. So I'm very apprehensive right now about the future in this show. I'm giving it a chance, but I'm at this point where I'm just sort of on the fence.
It's 2020, my dude. Everyone's apprehensive about the future.
Yeah, but this is a different kind of apprehensive.
Well, Dalaran, you should add to your notes. Listen to Meep. He's been right about this show twice.
Go ahead,
Both
hold up your card.
times. Both times I was like, it'll be fine. You gotta trust the show. And you're like, nah, it's gonna go bad, but it went well.
It's not true. I said it could go bad. There are many ways it could go bad.
That's the other thing, me. Both times for both of us, we expressed worries about it going bad. We never said we were certain.
Okay. About
Meep's
last
just
week,
being a shit.
the first time, it sounded like you two were expecting it to go bad. In fairness,
That's true.
We even explained we even explained afterwards then that it was a strong worry, but it wasn't a certainty.
Because we thought it was going to go a specific direction that we did not want it to go.
Like I've said before, like I said at the time, forced partnerships often are not that fun. And the reason it worked here is because it was a forced partnership, but then they were all amicable once they realized, ooh, money.
Money!
money. Capitalism, my dear boy, capitalism.
Meep, what are you holding up?
Pupil is now fucking cool.
Ugh. Edge.
Edgy.
She's not edgy.
Edge.
She really is, Abe.
Your standards of edge are just
Apparently, Chad has been yelling at my standards for Edge.
Look, she's trying so hard to literally pull the edgy East Side character lone wolf. She's more of a Sasuke than any of the other characters we've
Oh
met
my
now.
god, she is.
You are so wrong. But
Meep, how does it feel to fuck Sasuke?
I mean, Sasuke was hot, so...
Barely. His haircut was stupid.
I liked Sasuke post Shippuden, post Naruto. I liked that look.
Chat's right. Pupil is edgy, but she also has the right to be edgy, so I kind of get it. But she is edgy.
Like, you could have the right to be edgy. That's not going to stop me from calling you edgy. That changes nothing.
And yet you two still seem to enjoy this next show.
Well, hold on. Before we get to the next show, hold up your fucking card.
I held it up. It was an eggplant. I said I was going to put it in Pupil.
You mean Edge Pupil? I'm just sitting here. with a
Gotta
shit-eating grin on
watch
my
out for those
face.
razor blades.
Yeah, beware. That's her eye patch has a bunch of razor blades underneath it.
Just let's move on to the next show.
No, let me hold up my card.
Didn't you? Okay, I thought you already held it up.
Nah,
He
I'm
didn't.
fucking the show 100%. This is yet another stellar episode. Each time, like Meep said, each time this show makes me worry about the direction it may or may not be going, it always goes back to its greatest strength, its characters. Swindler, fantastic. Precious, adorable, pure being. She might actually be my favorite character. I know Brawler is gone now, so in the vacuum of Brawler, we need someone. But Swindler, I always enjoyed, and like just this episode, you've always made a rock comparison from Black Lagoon. This is the same, but done so much more organically, and as a result, so much better.
Yes, it's almost like post season 1 of Black Lagoon was written by different people that didn't know how to write.
Good opening though. But yeah, Swindler's just fantastic because, you know, she isn't just naive or stupid. She's a genuinely caring and wanting to do good for people person. Like, she really, those are her core values. You see her inner conflict in the first third when, like, she spent time with these Akudama and, like, her worldview was already broken a long time ago, but now that she has this moment, it's catching up to her. She's, like, cursing, and, like, the little sister, she's like, you have a bad mouth. And she's like, no, it's the Akudamas. Like, that whole ability, like, that was really adorable. And then we witness her, like, transformation come full circle with the killing of the thugs, but we don't see her lose herself. She still wants to do good. She's just adapting and adjusting to the world and circumstances that she is. And it's rare to see character development not only happen organically, but also for people not to just completely change. Like, she's still herself. It's just she's realized that she needs to do things. She, like Gilly said, she knows what she does what she needs to do to get things done. Yeah. The emotional scenes also struck my heart chords all too well, and I kind of teared up. And with the scenes between Big Sister Swindler and Little Sister Emoto, wonderfully soft. Just the show continues to do its characters so fucking well, impressively well. A+.
She improvised, she adapted, she overcame. Nike.
And she survived.
We have best jobs.
And chat's
you guys
right.
think Santa
Swindler is. Do you think Swindler is actually a virgin?
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe it.
She got offended
Same.
when they looked at her and were like, she looks too old to be a virgin. And Swindler was like, what the fuck you said, mate?
I just wanted an opinion on that. I kind of felt like that she was as well. I was just wondering.
Was anyone else waiting when she had the guy bend down for her to kick his head off like Cutthroat did that one girl? Because I found out Cutthroat kicked her head off, not her face. It was her head.
No, I looked. Her head was attached. The front part of it was gushing blood and it was like ripped off. Regardless, that's last week's conversation. As chat said, you know, she's adding a bit of chaos. She's accepting the chaos in her life along with the good. Though I do disagree with chat. You know, I see people saying she's not pure no more. She's still a good person. She's pure. She is not happy with what she did. She just knows that she has to do it. But I guess that only counts if you consider good and pure synonymous.
She's pure until she loses her virginity. So just wait until Cutthroat finds her.
I hate what you just said.
What's sad is he's saying it based off of what I posted into the Discord.
Yes, I'm saying that based off of what Gilly posted.
Because I made a bad joke.
Bad Gilly. But yeah, Swindler's Twilight Sparkle no more. She cut off her hair, and now she doesn't look like the... Chat's yelling no at you, by the way, Meep.
It's a joke at what Gilly posted.
Yeah, but you decided to be the pariah. Oh, Meep,
Listen,
duck.
he
They're getting the
posted
spray
and said
bottles
that
out.
They get together. He posted saying that they get together because they both kill now, and it wasn't an R joke. Bad chat. Spraying you with a spray bottle.
Also,
Let's
one
just
last
move on.
final note for Akudama Drive before we move on to the best show. This show continues to be gorgeous. The character animation is incredibly expressive, and it plays with different moments to add a little levity, as well as the difficult and dark parts. And the settings, while desolate and derelict, still carry such atmosphere in them. And they're super expressive of the current situation and mood for every scene. So A plus for both the character writing, the pacing, but also the atmosphere and environment design, because who are the team and the writers behind this, and the original mangaka and originator of the source material.
There is no manga. There's no manga. This is anime only.
Wait, this is original?
This is an anime original made by someone who's a fan of the Cyberpunk tabletop game.
Yo, fire, straight fire. All right, good job.
By the way, Gilly, I'm gonna need to get who the director of Fruit Tart is from you. Just it's for a thing. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for anything bad, Dalaron. It's for a meme. It's for a meme. Come time.
Oh no, you didn't have to. Fruit Tart is terrible. I'm down with you fucking popping off about it.
We'll get to that later.
But before we start sticking our shovels back into the graveyard and not letting shit lie, what do we got left, Meep? I want to hear you say it.
Kuma 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 Bear, Episode 8. Yuna tours the castle with the princess. The little girls start a fan club and an exiled wizard, who was totally not executed, not gonna explain that though, seeks revenge with an army of monsters. Yuna defeats the monsters because no one was worried about the cliff. It is supposed to be hilarious. To quote Goku, I'm bored. You're boring me.
I don't know what I'm more shocked about. The fact that this is the longest recap of all the shows this week for this session. Or the fact that Meep's 100% right. Like, didn't that dude get his fucking head cut off in the beginning of the episode? Which, by the way, I straight up thought I clicked on the wrong anime. I went back and reloaded the page to make sure I was watching Kuma 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 Bear and not something else. Not like Warhide Zerst or King's Raid or some other shit, because the opening is like really dark and it makes it seem like the dude got his head cut off.
So I do have something to say about that. That's honestly, that was a fault in just very poor framing, because when they explained it later and they talked about the reason he was exiled was for using the lives of prisoners, I'm pretty sure what we saw there was him doing something to a prisoner and then being exiled for it. It was just really poorly framed.
Why was it an executioner's act?
Yeah, no, I kind of get where you're going with it, Gilly, but the executioner, the hood, the axe, the king, the blood splatter sound effect, it all just made it seem like he got the axe, literally.
I can't even talk about this show. I've said all my feelings about it in previous episodes. I'm bored. It's boring me each week. When I'm not bored, I'm upset because it's doing something and trying to be funny, but it's not.
Are you telling me you really didn't laugh or at least chuckle when they had this fucking edgy try-hard dark scene with the court wizard, and then it just immediately transitions into like the soft Kuma 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 Bear opening?
No, because that's not funny. That okay, it's trying to be edgy now, but it's gonna get solved this episode because that's what this show is. It's gonna try and make a whole joke out of it. I could sit there scene by scene guessing like the twists and turns that's gonna happen. She's gonna beat all the monsters. She's gonna beat him. She's gonna meet the king. It's gonna be another nobles joke. It
You know it was adorable, Dalaran?
Tell me, Gilly.
When she was riding on the back of one of her bears and she was humming the ending theme.
You caught that too! Yeah.
It was just so cute. That's like I think that's one of the cutest moments we've had of Yuna, like just by herself.
Yeah, because her cuteness is always overshadowed by all the little Kuma girls, her little fan club. I'm so glad you caught that too, because
It was adorable.
yeah, I hit my space bar so hard to pause it when I heard it, and like in my notes I had, was she just humming the closing song?
It was adorable. Like I heard it immediately, and I'm like, ah. I must say,
I'm
I
glad.
find myself humming that ending song too because it is very catchy and cute.
It's cute. Especially the ending song. The animations are really cute. Especially like the
Yeah,
ending song has been growing more and more on me. With like each episode,
same.
yeah, and that might just be cute pop taking its natural course of ingraining itself in my mind, but I've been enjoying it, and like it's really cute. Especially the parts where Yuna sings along to the words. I always love to see that when main characters or anime characters sing along to the lyrics of the song that's playing.
Yeah,
yeah.
it was just that was really cute, and just like always, a bunch of little cute moments in this.
Mm-hmm.
The formation of the fan club didn't see that coming. I loved it though.
The one thing I didn't like is that it felt like Fina was being really coerced into it against her will. Like she was obviously uncomfortable with it. I get it. It's the joke. I didn't find that funny. But the idea of the fan club and all of them like panicking the moment Yuna just like opens the door and be like, "Hey guys," and you're like, and Yuna's like, "Okay," and closes the door.
In general, showed a lot of nervousness because I think she seemed to feel really strange in general trying to address these two nobles, but not in an extremely formal manner like she wanted to. She still was calling them lady, but she didn't want to. She didn't even want to call them by the first name. It was very. It was she was struggling to be even just a little bit less formal with the two of them.
Oh, Meep, stop strangling your microphone.
Sorry,
It's not
that was my cat. That was my cat.
That was
strangling your
me
microphone
angry at
or
this
your cat will not
conversation.
kill Kuma 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 Bear, but it will get you in jail.
I was
At least for
petting my
strangling your cat.
and she started. I was petting my cat, and she started to hiss at the other cat.
Okay. Sorry about that, chat. Especially our headphone users.
I thought that was Meep just like dunking his mic in water just because he was upset with the conversation.
Listen, you guys can have your conversation. I'm just not going to participate.
By the way, speaking of chat, you're being called out for hating Moe. We did it, chat. We broke Meep.
I don't hate Moe because I like Tabi Tabi.
I still don't think Tabi Tabi's well.
It is fucking Moe!
It kind of is. I hate to admit it. It kind of is. Well, no. Hold on. Does Moe count if little girls and like young characters look like young characters? Because to me, Moe is people that aren't young characters looking like young characters. Like everyone is wide-eyed and soft and huge, like huge-eyed and like soft and emotional and all twinkly-eyed. That's what Moe is to me.
thought that
Like
was
Lucky
Lolly.
Star is Moe.
Yeah, that's Lolly, Dalaran.
I've crossed over a bridge I didn't want to.
Go on, Dalaran. Twitter says you're not supposed to like that stuff. You're not allowed.
Lolly's cute. As long as you don't make it about actual little girls, then it's not.
Lolly is cute as long as it's not in hentai.
Yes, it's nice as long as it's soft and sweet and not porn.
Hey. Flat girls need love too, as long as they're of age.
No,
Flat
there's
not equal Lolly.
that's fine. It's when there's a whole different issue though
It's when
that I
they
don't want to
look
get
10.
into.
It's when they look 10, but they're really like 10,000 years old.
I was gonna
Swindler
say.
is not Lolly.
I was gonna say I didn't think Kuma Bear was gonna take us here.
Yeah, Swindler is not Lolly, even though Swindler is flat.
Swindler's in flat.
She's pretty flat.
She's at least a B cup.
We can't get into a conversation of cup size with Meep
That's-
because he thinks double D's aren't that big.
And
They
then
are very common in Canada, I will have you know.
and then we will also be reminded of that scene in Fruit Tart, which I don't want to go back there. So back to Kuma Bear, the princess.
Yes.
We can't go 5 minutes in this show without a little girl accompanying Yuna, right? Unless it's into battle.
Some precious child just that's obsessed with the bear.
Kuma.
Also,
we went from Kuma rivals.
It was kind of.
Sorry, go on, Gilly.
Oh, just her hairstyle was. Was that supposed to be like Was that pigtails? I couldn't really tell.
Look at the stream. I have this still up. It's kind of. It's not really like pigtails. It's more like she had like these. Her hairstyle's weird. It looked like she was like had horns, but she also had leaves in her hair.
Yeah, it was still really cute. I just couldn't put my finger on what kind of hairstyle that's supposed to be.
She is the cutest little orc I've ever done seen.
Go on to what you were saying, Dalaran, about the Kuma Club.
Oh, the Kuma Club? This. I was just saying, like in general, that the princess was, this show can't have, literally, we can't have Yuna alone for 5 minutes unless it's in a fight. And the princess did nothing. Like, it was really cute, but like before, at least the characters felt like they're permanent. She literally just showed up like, I'm the princess of the kingdom. I love you, Kuma Bear, and then poof. That's it.
Why does she have this really intrinsic design, but her father looked like the blandest bland that's ever bland?
Because he is
Chat's yelling
king.
at us for our conversation.
He is generic king, yes.
Look, I have no issue with this.
Was the king trying to put together a king's raid?
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
You get one more of those before I force us to cards.
What else can I say about this episode? As a New Yorker, specifically someone from New York City, that is not the pizza I was promised. Nope. Mm-mm.
Why don't you kill the show for it, Dalaran? Come on, just join me. I have a knife right here.
Honestly, Meep, I am just every week I'm shocked that you are not talking about Ara Ara Mom, because she literally walks up and goes Ara Ara, and I'm like, this show loves its tropes.
She doesn't look like a MILF. She looks 16.
No, she doesn't. Compared to everyone else's art style, she definitely looks of age. beyond of age, like, you know.
Yeah, because you're comparing them to like 10-year-old looking characters.
Yeah, but that's just Moe.
You know, one thing my brain was thinking of when I saw Noir's mom this week is I'm just like, I don't know why I didn't notice it before, or maybe wasn't a thing before. The fact that her eyes are always, just lines. Like,
Yeah.
is she just from the same gene pool that, like, you know, Brock and Gin Ichimaru come from,
Yep.
where there's
Yeah.
just lines?
Did you not
Didn't you
know?
know?
Brock visits every other weekend.
Didn't you know that Noah's mom is actually Hazuma?
Did you know that Did you know that Noah's father is actually Cutthroat?
No, he's a nice boy. I still like Cliff. I think Cliff is a nice boy. But
Yeah,
something I
I
did.
really like Cliff too.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
I never
He's a good
said
dude.
Cliff was Noah's father.
I don't like where this is going. So I'm going to take this away
Come on,
from.
She's away from her husband. Says it's okay to lie to him.
I'm gonna take the mic from Meep and just say, you know what I realized this week?
She says that this episode, Dalron. It's okay to lie to Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff is definitely the bottom in their relationship, which I'm all here for it.
Cliff is a simp.
Chat, a lot of my players in chat are upset at my mention of a certain NPC, and fight me, you can't stop me. But you know what I realized this week about Kuma 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 Bear? This show really loves its tropes, and I'm okay with it because again, I don't want this show. I don't need this show to be more. In fact, I don't really want.
There's not enough bleach for my eyeballs to make me enjoy this.
Did I die or did?
I think Dalron died.
Hello? Did something happen?
Everything just got like dead silent, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, you stopped talking after you said, there's not enough of this show for one.
Okay, so like I don't this show isn't complicated, and I don't want it to be complicated, and like so basically what I was saying is that like this show loves its tropes, and I love it loving its tropes. Like it's just a good time.
Yeah, it really is. It's warm and cuddly and kind, and it keeps me off, and it keeps me from the bottle every time I finish Adachi to Shimamura.
This show does not deserve a higher rating than Jujutsu Kaisen.
That I will agree with.
Because Jujutsu Kaisen has a 6.42 rating. This has a 6.47. It does not deserve a higher rating than Jujutsu Kaisen.
Hey man, I agree with you.
I mean,
but
here's the I just want to say something about the rating. Meep Ochikabori Fruit Tart has a 6.55.
that's
It does not. Oh, wait, never mind. Sorry, I'm wrong. Jujutsu Kaisen has an 8.4. 8.42.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Last time I checked Jujutsu Kaisen, it was 8 point something. It was pretty high up there.
And the My Anime List mobile does not go well. Okay.
yeah. Also, like, I really don't mean to come off condescending when I say this, but like, if the populace is voting Jujutsu Kaisen at a 6.4, then I don't really care about the ratings on that site because, what the fuck.
No, it's up at an 8.4. It's pretty high up there. It's competing with shows that have been running for years.
Yeah, it's people are saying this is going to be one of the next big three, along with My Hero and fucking
Yukoku no Moriarty?
Like, there's Moriarty isn't big enough to become one of the big three shonen.
I'm kidding.
Moriarty has like a 7 point something, so they're doing fairly well too.
Yeah, like Jujutsu Kaisen is gearing up to be is gearing up to boot Black Clover out of its spot in the big three, which
Yeah, it's gonna pass Black Clover, and actually, it's the way its ratings are going. It's gonna end up passing One Piece too, who's
and
actually fairly high up there.
and you know what? It deserves it. I know
Anyway.
you love those two shows, but I think Jujutsu Kaisen is better out of all of those three.
But yes, Kuma Bear, we're
Back
still
to the
here.
Kuma Bears. Also, yes, chat, this is live. Welcome to our first live session. Live. Not dead live or live dead, but live.
Deadlock.
What is there? I mean, I say
No,
back
it's
to it,
fine.
but, what is there really to say? Yuna is surprisingly doing a lot for free, which doesn't seem like in her character. Oh, I know what there is to say. Before we get to the fight, which is just an excuse to hear Yuna's voice actress go "Kuma" and like in a very cute way, we got Meep. You finally have character motivation from Yuna. She's doing this because she sees an ability to change children's lives and make them better, and she's genuinely content with life if she can see kids be happy, and that's really just there's nothing else to say. That's really wholesome and really kind, and I'm
It's
all here
wholesome,
for
but
it.
it still doesn't make me care about the character.
I think you're just too far gone and you hate Moe. There, I said it.
If I hate Moe, then I hate Moe. And Zombieland Saga probably sucks too.
Boo this man. Chat, boo this man.
I knew that would get a reaction out of you.
Boo this man.
Meep, you want to hear something upsetting about?
What?
You know what? Well, no, you know what? We'll get to it later. I found the people that made Fruit Tart, and I will tell you some of their other works when we get to it.
Please don't.
And you're going to be upset.
Please, no.
Look into chat. Look at the boos you've earned.
I only
of-
said that to get a reaction out of Dalaran.
I will say there was one thing that I was a little disappointed in with this episode, and
What's
that is they brought up that Yuna made a drawing, and she brought up that she used when she was in the real world, or she's back in her world, she drew manga as a hobby. And maybe I just looked away from the screen at exactly the wrong point, but it didn't show what she drew, did it?
It showed right before it, and it was
I looked
alright.
away literally the second that I must have looked away right as that happened, because I thought like they just didn't show it, and I was upset.
No, they didn't. They didn't show it. I was watching the whole time.
They did. They showed the panel. It was like Fina playing with her and the bears.
Yeah, but never showed any of the manga she used to draw back home.
Oh, no,
That's
no,
not what
no,
I'm
no,
talking
not...
about.
Oh,
I just missed the drawing in general because I must have looked away at just exactly the moment where I missed it.
oh, okay.
And I just thought they just didn't show it at all, and I was upset about that. Well, never mind.
Little
I
do
just
you,
need to go back and look at it.
little do you know, Yuna is the mangaka for Fruit Tart.
Shh. No more of your
Yuna
vile hatred here, Meep.
Yuna is the god of her own creation. She drew her own manga.
I need
I
to
will
check
say
if the
this.
mangaka of Fruit Tart is the mangaka of Citrus. I need to check that.
Yeah.
No, I said that wrong. Wait, no, I said that wrong. I need to check if the manga of Fruit Tart is a Citrus situation where the manga is actually, tasteful and much better, and the director just fucked the anime adaptation.
That's actually a very good...
Literally,
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
And
Dalaran,
we
you
can
wanted to talk about the
Yeah.
fight?
Before we get to the fight, one last note. One disappointment... I can't even call this a disappointment. One joke... So when they enter the king's palace, right, and they showed him all the way at the fucking end of this fuck-all hall, I kind of wish they made the joke about how far they had to walk. Like, Yuna's just like, ugh, fucking kings. Like, why do I have to walk all the way across the fucking castle to say hi to this guy in one room?
because kings are lazy fucks.
No, they're imposing fucks.
It would have been
They
pretty
want
in
you to walk.
character. Look, walking's good for you, okay?
Okay.
I'm here
Yeah.
for a good time, not for a long time.
Sure, Gilly. Let's talk about the fight, quote unquote.
The fight scene that went exactly like all the other ones, but that is not said in a way that I'm upset about it.
Kuma punch. She just runs up and
Oh,
decks the
I
dude.
will say, so there was the way that she hits this guy, and it is hilarious because he's just like with the other ones, he plays up to be this badass and just gets fucking decked across the field. But I really, really liked the the earth bears she creates.
The fucking
Hello?
Kuma kamikaze ghost attack.
I was just talking about when she created the giant bears out of the ground
Oh, that was a new one. Yeah. She made
that were just punching things. I really enjoyed that.
Kuma's stone golems. Also, the fucking elf who is the director of the Adventurers Guild in the whole kingdom, the whole country, was just like fucking just bird's eye in the sky, just can't believing what she was seeing. I don't think that was proper English, but I'm tired, so fuck it.
There was that like sweat drop in concern about, oh, the bear's taking them all out.
Yeah. And then fucking Fina's mother, not Fina's mother, Noah's mother, just being like, right, don't anger her, don't upset her. Understood.
Do not make enemies of the bear.
Do not anger the bear. But yeah, it's again like I'm fine if we never get a serious fight. I'm also cool if we get like if we find someone who actually like puts up a fight to just get some bombastic Kuma combat. Some crazy Kuma combat.
Held all with, I'm gonna stop.
Now listen right here, Kuma brother. You're gonna
Don't-
put on this here cloak, and we're gonna go around killing all them that aren't bears.
Gilly, why don't you go ahead and hold up a card? Jesus,
I'm gonna
me.
fuck this show
Jeez.
because look, I prompted that. That was my fault.
Fair enough.
So this is how I get you guys to stop talking about Kuma Bear. Got it. Noted.
Yeah, make KKK references. That's a pretty good way to make any
You're
conversation
the one
come
that
to
did
a
it
fucking
first!
standstill.
You're the one that did it first, Dalra!
What?
No, I did it first, so that's my fault. Dalrod didn't realize what he was setting me up to do, and my
I
North
did
Carolinian side took over.
not. Concern indeed,
No, but
chat.
I'm a-
Concern. Meep's already getting flamed
But I'm-
alive in
I'm-
chat.
Let's just all agree that we're all bad people.
But yeah, I'm gonna fuck this show because it's warm and cuddly, and it continues to do what I need, and it keeps me from drinking away all my sorrows.
Meep?
I'm gonna do what I did every week, and I'm gonna continue to carve this bear. Kuma Q was too salty. Let's see if Kuma Yuru is any better. I had to throw out all of Kuma Q's meat, though. It was pretty tart.
Why are you wasting that big bear meat, Meep?
Because it's not even worth eating. It's worthless, just like the rest of this show.
Hashtag flame Meep.
Hmm.
I guess I'll go. I'm fucking this show. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is the interlude. Not interlude, that's the wrong term. This is the intermission. There we go. The intermission I need between, watching all these shows. It's just a nice ball of fluff that I can eat, consume, and just not have to worry about digesting. I still find the "she's a bear, that's a bear" joke funny somehow, or at least entertaining. the scenes with the little girls was super cute and wholesome about them like walking around and making a club, apart from Yuna being obviously uncomfortable about it. Misa's design is really good. Like, I kind of want to like make a wizard or a sorcerer with her design in like D&D because just the colors is
But Dalaran, that would just be Elena.
no.
That would just be Elena with short hair.
No.
I'm not even joking. Gilly, you can attest to this. She looks just like Elena did with the short hair last week.
But she has silver hair and gray eyes and blue, white, and purple, black aesthetic.
Yes, that was basically the aesthetic Elena had last week when she went to the ball.
Oh, that's the episode I missed. Anyway, regarding Kuma Kuma Bear, it's cute, it's wholesome, super so, and ultimately that's exactly what the show is. And, the fact that Yuna does everything just to watch the kids smile is just aw. Just aw. It's exactly that.
You're telling me it would make the kids sad if Yuna died.
Would you hurt the? Well, you would because you were ready to like kill all the orphans in that one episode. So your opinion is no longer valid here.
And my first reaction in Ikebukuro to seeing the kid fall out of the window was laughter.
Because I can't believe they opened the episode with a kid falling out a fucking window or off a patio.
That's not why I laughed. I just don't like kids.
Kids don't like you. Anyway, unless I'm mistaken, I'm mistaken, nothing dies this week yet again.
No, because you two are masochists.
Just to be clear,
this is gonna come back and bite me in the ass sometime. Talking this mad shit is gonna come back and bite me in the ass sometime.
Yep.
Listen, that is my goal whenever Kuma Bear comes up, is to just talk mad trash, because I have to get some enjoyment out of this hellfire.
Like fire, hellfire.
The fire in my bones.
Boons.
What if it's the fire in your hair? Yes.
I don't know, guys. I'm getting kind of tired. Do we want to do a brief Gilly's Graveyard Tour?
Nah, let's go full in depth. Dalaran, start with Zurst.
No, I could summarize.
Zurst? I actually didn't watch Zurst this week. I did not have the time. However, what I did watch was the latest episode of Majo no Tabi Tabi.
I think we all did.
Yeah, I did too.
In this episode, because this is the graveyard tour, people, whatever. If spoilers come up, they come up. But basically, Elena is destitute, no money, finally not full of herself, which, yes. But Elena, desperately strapped for cash, seeks a job specifically made for a witch that pays a buttload to assist another witch, the Lavender Witch, in going back in time to save her friend from a horrible fate which would result in her becoming monstrous and a murderer. While the twist was foreseeable by me, I have to give where credit is due. I have to give credit where credit is due. This episode was very, very well done. It handled its subject matter with a sense of attention, passion in terms of like creative writing, and both theatrical and dramatic presentation that I so very much did not have for the majority of the show before this. Now, Meep, you recommended that I watch this episode, and earlier when I voted this show off, I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm making the wrong decision. I really, really wanted to like this show. Last week, I don't think I made the wrong decision. However, I also asked for people to tell me the episodes that they think are really good and exceptional because I would love to see the best this show has. And this, so far, has probably been one of, if not the strongest and best episode, in my opinion.
Yeah. It It was really good. I love the subject matter of someone having to do something horrible twice. Then they added the extra layer of giving up her memories to kill her best friend a second time. Just this tragedy upon tragedy. Like the Lavender Witch, for everyone, the Lavender Witch wanted to go back in time to save her friend from becoming a murderer because her uncle was alluded to do lewd things to her, and she killed her uncle and discovered she loved killing.
After her parents were brutally murdered and stabbed in their own homes while she was away for groceries. She then went to live with her uncle, and then this happened.
Yes. They find out when Elena goes back in time with her that the little girl actually killed her parents, and it wasn't a burglar, because her father used to do lewd things to her, and her jealous mother hit her.
Wait,
and then
you didn't... You actually believed her?
Yes?
She's lying!
I don't believe that for a second. It seemed genuine. What else would make a child want to kill their parents?
Because she was wearing a black cloak that was the burglar. She killed her parents in the other timeline too. She's a psychopath, Meep.
Yeah. Yes, she is. And I fully believe her when she said that about her parents.
Do you forgive her for her actions? Because you're the reason why she was able to go on killing.
No, I don't. I don't. I'm just saying, as a matter of fact, that happened to her. Just because something bad happens to you doesn't mean you deserve forgiveness.
True. Gilly, where do you stand on this?
I had a good time with it. I liked it.
But do you believe
I still don't think
her?
this show... I still... No. I still don't think this... I still don't think this show knows what tone it wants to go with, but that doesn't stop me from enjoying it.
Yeah, the Lavender Witch gets stabbed and has to kill her best friend once more, because in the original timeline, she hunted down and killed her best friend too. And when Elena takes off the ring because she doesn't want to share her magic with the Lavender Witch anymore, the Lavender Witch gives up her memories to gain more magical power. All of her memories of her best friend. So it adds this extra layer of tragedy of having this sorrow about someone she doesn't even remember.
Specifically, yeah, me and Meep talked about this the other night because, this is Graveyard and this is free for us to enjoy and talk about, but we decided to talk about it on the show as well. Elena took off her ring because she understood the pain that the Lavender Witch was about to invoke on herself. Because her whole reason of going back, because the show went into multiverse theory, that her going back in time will not change her timeline, but there will be a timeline where her friend was spared the consequences of becoming a monster, and that would just give her peace of mind that she was able to save her somewhere else, and that her having to kill her best friend didn't go in vain. And at the very end, since we're going full spoilers, the reason I don't believe her, Meep, and Gilly, you can agree or disagree with me as well, is because she laughed in her face when she called her best friend. She's like, oh, like, she's a complete fucking sociopath. Like, she's a complete and utter sociopath. She looked at her friend as just a fucking tool to, like, back her up, and if the show did this in 2 episodes, we probably would have seen how even worse she was as an adult. Or a teenager.
The vibe I got from that was her, because she said that we were really a broken home. The vibe I got from that was, because even then she said her family was friends with, the Lavender Witch's family was friends with the little girl's family. So it was probably just another thing of having to keep up the face of it not being a broken home when it really is.
No, dude, she was trying to see if she can get away with lying to Elena and having Elena forgive her because, oh, look at sad little me. She's crazy, my dude.
I didn't get that read at all.
She's a monster. That's the whole point.
She is a monster, but I don't think she lied about it.
it broke Serena, which I think is the name of the Lavender Witch, because she realized that all that hope that she held onto to make amends for killing someone was all for naught, because this whole time she was always a monster. An disgusting, broken, cruel, bloodthirsty monster. Lying, manipulative, murdering creature, not human, not a person.
I still believe that what she said was true. It's just she's a monster. She is a monster. But something like that doesn't go unprompted. Because it wasn't sociopathy; it was psychopathy. Which the difference between sociopathy, which is why, while not being worse, sociopathy is much scarier because they do it without feeling. They don't feel remorse. They don't feel joy. They feel nothing when something like that happens. They do it with such ease. Which is where a psychopath, like Cutthroat, gets a sick joy out of it.
Well, that's the thing. They do feel joy and satisfaction. Their social cues and their social norms are heavily shifted away from ours, which is why it's called sociopathy, because it's completely divergent from our understanding of like social behavior.
Yes, but sociopathy and psychopathy are not one and the same. They're very different.
They're not.
Sociopaths are devoid of lots of emotion. Unless it's for themselves, they, for the most part, cannot feel empathy towards others, which makes them really easy to fake it. Sociopaths are really easy to fake that kind of thing because they're able to understand those social cues, but they don't feel it themselves. It's this really in-depth, deep conversation I can go as someone that took a bunch of psych classes and wants to major in psychology in college.
And as someone who shares that approach with you, and someone who's pursued psychology as a career and a degree directive, this could be a long conversation as well. And perhaps one day we'll do an extra after hour where we do a little feature on this episode alone and really deconstruct the potential influencers of both the nature and the nurture of the situation. But
I mean, we can always talk about this if it gets nominated for best episode. I'm down for it.
Cool. But yeah, let's leave that for another time. Gilly, any other? Where do you fall in terms of this crazy little monster, this horrible creature? I can't. She got Gilly, Meep. She got Gilly. Run.
This is a whole animation thing. Usually, if they want to actually show that something bad happened to the character and that caused them to be the way they are, they tend to animate it in a certain way when they're near death. And the only thing animated on this girl's face near death was lack of anything other than just joy in what was going on, even if she was about to have her head popped. Usually animation style, they tend to like to put in tears there if there was actually something traumatic that happened. That's partially why I didn't believe it, because how they like to animate that kind of stuff and really make you have to think about it. That was where I actually stood. That's how I actually came to my conclusion on that. Just common things they like to do, they didn't.
We all agree that she's horrible, though, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, there's no question on that.
Yeah. And what Meep said earlier about her, like, having to do this deed twice, is incredibly brutal. And when we, like, she has to kill her friend twice, and specifically she brought herself to the point where she sacrificed years of her life and lifespan by, like, draining herself of blood every single day or every few days to make this spell work, giving away pretty much all her money, and like doing this whole venture only to be crushed worse than the first time. And when we talked about it with Meep, I brought it up that like her burning her memories will leave her with this hollow sadness that she has no understanding why it's there. And the ending scene, they don't elaborate on it. Elena flees. For the first time, we see Elena not be able to handle a situation that she got herself involved in, and she flees the house, not even taking the money with her, as the Lavender Witch is like bleeding in the corner, like her energy, her life, her the spark of hope in her just gone, extinguished, as Elena breaks into tears, finally realizing just how powerless she can be if she's not careful. And this is what I wanted from the show like 4 episodes ago.
I'm curious to see what volume, or not what volume. Yeah, what volume this would have been in the light novel. Or not. Sorry, not what volume. What chapter? Because the light novel is 12 chapters. Each chapter is essentially made into an episode. From what I can tell, at least.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what chapter this would be.
Yeah, it's good. I hope there's more content like this. I really do, because this was good. While I saw the twist coming, the way it was it's the fallout that really had me interested. And to me, the show was alluding that the Lavender Witch was going to die, not if not from her wounds and blood loss, but just from sadness and just utter depression, and just there's nowhere for her to go. Her life is kind of over. Everything she tried just ended her with just a greater state of, not desperation. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Regardless, it's just oof, just
Man, I can't wait for the tonal shift in episode 10, where it's Saya and Elena's wedding.
and all the people are talking about their fetishes that they like so much with these 18-year-old girls.
Gilly, why don't you tell us about Fruit Tart?
I don't like that that's the transition into fruit tart.
Really,
Well, I don't
really.
like that it's an accurate transition into Fruit Tart.
Yeah, that's a better statement.
Okay. Yeah, I can talk about fruit
Okay.
tart.
Okay.
So, just to simplify this up as quickly as we can, not as bad as it actually did not end up being as bad as I thought, and then it did end up being as bad as I thought it would be.
Great. Off to a good start. Awesome.
Because obviously last week it teased the only thing it teased was an episode about going underwear shopping, which already had me on the fence. The big joke that we get to start off with is Sakura keeps talking about, like, oh, I'm gonna get some we're gonna get some we're gonna get lucky panties, which is supposed to be really innocent, but everyone keeps taking it as panties to get lucky in. It becomes a thing about sex, completely and utterly.
Hey Meep. Sorry. Hey Gilly. Um, do they talk about sex in a healthy and like knowledgeable and safe practicing way?
All it is they everyone keeps taking it the wrong way. That's just all it is. Everyone keeps taking the words lucky panties the wrong way.
I knew the answer I was gonna get, but I just wanted to ask it, just
And
in case.
the whole point in it was uh apparently to get Hayu some actual, you know, underwear for an adult and not a child, because apparently she doesn't have any adult underwear, which is a whole other thing, and I don't know why it's important, but it was a thing. And yeah, that just keeps happening, and Hayu continues to be the only sweet and innocent character who just keeps getting roped into all the worst things. And that's the first half. The second half is them actually, well, they go to a recording studio to record their album. Uh, we don't hear any singing, and the when we finally do, it is god awful.
This show sucks. Why do you keep watching it?
I honestly don't know. I've gotten sucked into it at this point.
This show is objectively bad. There's no music. There's constant sexualization and fetishization for just for what?
It honestly, see, the thing is, when they get to the recording part and everyone's having a difficult time, that's when I was enjoying it because there was nothing like, overtly sexual or bad going on. It was just nice. It was sweet. It was them having difficulties, and it's going fine. Everything's going fine, and then Roko's younger sister, they ask her like, well, what's your tip for singing better? And she says to think about things you like, and that's when it goes downhill again. Because all of them except Hayu, what they like is very wrong. Like Roko is all about fondling the big titty girl. That has just become even more apparent. We don't know what Ino's is, but it's pretty easy to guess with the drool. It's all very bad, and with Hayu, it's just like her face is flushed, but she's thinking about she's thinking about like starring in a concert and all the people cheering for her. She continues to be the only character that has any shred of decency.
She's actually in it for the music because she's a good girl.
The thing is, she definitely seems like she has a very minor crush on Ino, but it's not weird like it is with literally everyone else.
I think she just doesn't want to lose her friend, but I don't really care about this show, so.
Well, when they bought the underwear, she bought a pair of underwear exactly like Ino's, but a different color.
I'm done. I'm done with this.
Oh,
But the thing is, everything she did was sweet and innocent. Like, she was the only one like that, and she continues to be that way. And I will hurt the second they stop.
hey, Dalaran.
Uh-huh.
Remember that anime I mentioned earlier about the girl who works at an office, but she has to test condoms with her boss?
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at the studio of Fruit Tart, and they made that anime too.
So,
Uh-huh.
there's actually 2 studios that worked on Fruit Tart, and one of them is the same studio that does Overlord and Shield Hero.
Which is fucking
Please tell me they're the
crazy.
Please tell it must be a Frank situation. They have to be the animators.
Because they're
They
both, because it's 2 different producers, and one of them is a very good studio, and the other
there's
one
no
does
way.
a lot more of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that one must be the animators, like with Frank's, because the animation in Frank's was great. Story, god awful. That was all A1's fault. Man, I'm
Ugh.
recognizing a couple anime, but the thing is, with a lot of these anime I'm recognizing, like Bikini Warriors, at least the characters are of age. Sexualize all the characters you want, just have them be of age.
But,
Do we have another show we want to talk about tonight? Or are we wrapping up? Because Fruit Tart makes me feel like Adachi to Shimomura makes Gilly feel.
There's 2, because there's King Raid and then Noblesse.
We can wrap it up on King's Raid, because I can get through that really fast.
Tell us about your
Okay.
not vampires.
So, this episode of Noblesse shows a clan leader of the nobles coming to see Rizel and what's her name? She's best girl. I forget her name. But meeting Rizel and the girl that he's accompanied with, who also the girl appears to be a clan leader because she can wield what is known as a soul weapon. We then flash cut to the clan leaders talking about how the main character, Rai, has betrayed them and apparently killed the old leader, which is completely against what we know about Rai, because from what we know of him, he's a really cool dude. We then cut to a flashback of Frankenstein, Rise Butler, who used to experiment on on lesser nobles of the clans and became as powerful as a noble because even though nobles are supposed to be good at nature, he knows that there are some bad nobles among them and hates all of them. He wants to kill all of them. The episode ends after he gets injured in a fight with two of the clan leaders, and he walks into a room where we see Rai drinking a cup of red wine, totally not blood. This episode, because there was actual plot happening, I enjoyed it more than last one. Also, the fights aren't one-sided in the flashback, so I enjoyed that too. This show is a bit more on my wavelength this week. I'm not going to lie. I actually liked it.
It still doesn't sound satisfying.
Well, I'm trying to get through it quickly because,
No, fair enough, and I appreciate that. I just,
Honest,
from the things you mentioned last week, it's just stuff happens. Unless, they really are starting to build a world and relationships, in which case, cool. I guess the question is,
they are. They are.
so did you enjoy it?
This week, a lot more than last week, yes. Because last week was the definition of filler.
Okay, cool. Right on.
honestly, this was my alternate lock, and honestly, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much as it sounded like to me. I don't think I would have disliked it, but I don't think I would have gotten the same amount of enjoyment I'm getting out of Moriarty.
I'm happy you locked Moriarty as well.
Yeah, I really like
So
Moriarty.
I'm glad of the decision. I'm glad of the decision I made because it honestly it literally came down to a coin flip because I couldn't make a decision.
Gilly, what happened in this week's King's Raid?
This week's King's Raid. So, well, last week there was basically in a way, small little orphanage, a bunch of little girls. As we found out at the end of that episode, a few of the girls came from the neighboring town, which was attacked by demons. As they go to look at this town that was attacked by demons, the one thing that throws them off is it's just empty. There's no bodies. There's no nothing. And that is when we get to the first screenshot I took, which I find hilarious. The town is filled with the reason there's no corpses is because all the people that were killed or taken came back as undead. A lot of undead. They're all zombies, though they're not like rotting away. They're just dark and red eyes, which was an interesting take on zombies. I guess they were going for more of a demonic look.
So they turn into dark elves.
But there's one
wrong.
man left in the town who's not a zombie. He helps them, brings them in. They stay with him. Castle wakes up in the night to find out that he has. Well, first, he is the father of the little girl Frey was like friends with by the orphanage.
I'm
So,
sorry. Did you just say Castle is the father of someone?
No. I had to backtrack for a second. The little girl from the last episode that Frey helped, the man that lets them in out away from the undead is her father. He's still alive. He's the only person still alive. And during the night when they're sleeping there, Castle hears some noises and finds out that the father was keeping his undead wife chained up in the basement. I took a screenshot of that too. He is completely delusional. This is a Walking Dead kind of deal where he is completely delusional that she can be cured. And it's just a whole situation where Roy is yelling at him. Roy has some kind of issue with the undead specifically, which doesn't get addressed, but he's very adamant about his dislike for them. And we just go along this whole point where they're arguing with him, telling him that she can't be helped, that she can't be cured, that she is dead. And it takes him a while, but he realizes finally and agrees to go see his daughter and be with his daughter away from this dead town.
So it sounded like things actually happened this episode.
A lot of things happened, and they were very good about making it as emotional as it was. I don't know. I continued to watch this because I was curious. Then I didn't. Then I thought it got bad, so I was watching it for the joke, and now I'm kind of invested.
Meep, I want to congratulate the two of us for not falling into a Stockholm syndrome yet. Unlike Gilly, who has apparently decided to take all of it on himself. So, Gilly, we thank you.
I have taken all the evil into myself so that nobody has to suffer. Except Zurst. You can keep that one.
I don't know, I kind of
I
like
just
it.
realized
Also, Discord sounds.
we're gonna get the Kingsraid Graveyard tour throughout all of winter too, because Kingsraid
Yeah,
is
it's like it's a 24 episode series.
I don't want this. I don't. This is not what I came here for. Things are
Well,
supposed
we
to
don't
stay
get a
dead,
choice,
guys.
Elron.
Things are supposed to stay dead.
Look, King's Raid will be a mainstay. Everyone will love it. It'll become a cult classic.
I would ask chat if they would love it, but I'm afraid that their answer will be yes, so I'm not going to ask.
I feel like a majority of it is not going to be yes, but there will be people, and those are the people that stand by me.
Can't see me, but I'm shaking my head.
It's honestly, it's having its. I think it's honest. The last two episodes I've had a good time with. I, I think I think it just took the show a long time to finally start doing things well, which is not good. Show shouldn't take that long to start actually putting out decent episodes. But as long as it continues the way it is, I am 100% along for the ride. I
Well,
think it just had a really poor start.
you know what? I don't mean to come off like a bastard towards this show. It's just some shows have bad starts. It's kind of why I'm giving Zurst its fair run, right?
Mhm.
That being said, it just King's Raid just seemed to have dropped the ball not at the beginning but multiple times through its run. So forgive me if I am hesitant to jump back into that wagon. You yourself said you were for a period there you were just watching it for the lulls, for the meme, for the joke.
When we first killed it, I was still invested. But after that next episode, I was falling off.
Uh-huh.
And I watched the one after that for the joke, and then I got invested again.
Sounds like you shouldn't have watched it for the joke then, Gilly. Sounds like you should have just let go.
I don't know what
Let
you're talking
sleeping
about.
dogs
I'm
lie.
invested, so it did a good. I'm invested. It did a good thing for me.
It you can't. It's not your fault, Gilly. The accident happened a year ago. You can't bring it back.
What are you talking about, me? If it wasn't an accident, you gagged him, tied him in the trunk, and drove him off the bridge. I witnessed you do this.
No, your knife was there
Yes,
with
and
us,
the
wasn't
accident
it?
wasn't your fault.
Was,
I
and I
took.
regret it every day. That's
I
why I
used
went
your
and
truck.
fished him out.
I used your truck.
I don't have a truck. I have a minivan.
I used your minivan.
I mean, it can comfortably fit about 6 people, and uncomfortably fit about 9.
I thought you were about to say it can comfortably fits. I thought that's what you were gonna say.
Nah.
Well,
I don't know. I'm having a I'm back to having a real good time with it, and I think it's gonna be a lot of ups and downs of the show, and I'm just gonna keep letting it uh keep going through it at its hard times so I can get to the good times again.
Hey, you know what? You were enjoying it, and it's unlike Fruit Tart. It's not doing anything wrong in terms of like causing
Fruit now
damage.
fruit tart has Stockholmed me. That's a different issue altogether. I already know that because I'm somehow not completely hurt by watching it, and there's something wrong there because I feel wrong watching it, and yet I keep watching it, and I'm not doing it for the meme.
As long as you understand it, admit to it publicly, and don't encourage anyone to follow in your footsteps, we
Well,
can't
God,
stop
no, I
you.
don't. I don't recommend anybody watch Fruit Tart. Don't. I
I think
watch
what
it, and I
Fruit
don't know why I keep watching it, but nobody should watch it.
Well, last week you said it's like a trash fire you or like a train crash, like an awful disaster that you just can't bring yourself to look away from. And I think down the line what
Yeah,
Fruit Tart is going to be for you is the show when you look back and when you bring it up when people talk about bad animes and that one other poor bastard or whatever that saw it, you guys are going to have that connection of trauma.
look, I've watched a lot of like D-list movies and TV shows that I still remember in full detail, and I just watch them all through to the end because for some reason I I do end up having this like magnetic attraction to things that are awful when it comes to, but it's not everything. It's just sometimes something's so bad I can't stop. I have a few movies that fall under that list, like Zombievers.
I'm not even
let's not
going to
get into
ask.
Zombievers. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I'd also like to give another thanks to Team 4-Star for allowing us to do this. Don't watch Zombievers. Please don't.
Also, please don't watch
Do
Fruit
watch
Tart.
First Period.
But I don't watch
Mm,
that either. But I do recommend people watching the. We do recommend people watching this latest episode of Majo no Tabi Tabi. Gore, spoilers ahead, but check it out. It's worth it.
what do you mean? The episode itself warns them.
It's true. It's true. It does say like the very opening of the episode has like this episode contains content not suited for people with sensitive taste or minors. But yeah, guys, thanks to everyone for coming through. As always, if you're here live with us, literally live, I hope you enjoyed our first full live recording session. Let us, as always, your feedback and follows and subscriptions are all massively appreciated. Feel free to jump in the comments or send messages for things that you liked or things that could be done better. Huge shout out for Team 4-Star for making this format and allowing us to follow it. And just for all of you here with us now, just hanging out, dropping comments, booing Meep, getting the heavy flamer, and just overall enjoying the shows in this very strong season. For those of you
Booing
guys who
Meep
are
just
not catching
become
us
a.
live, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if booing Meep has just become a thing for this.
Yeah, chat
Because
regularly seems to break.
I've said plenty of controversial things, but it sounds like it's all aimed at Meep.
No, you see, this week you did it smart. You made Meep say your controversial or terrible jokes for you by posting them in messages to him.
I was not going to say out loud. I just put them there as jokes for us, and then it was said.
Yep. And
Hey,
and in
hey,
other week
said something in relation.
and in other weeks, it's become Boo Meep and hashtag Poor Gilly. So people feel for your suffering. Anyway, for those of you
Uh,
here, thanks so much for
yeah.
liking. Well, I mean, I guess you're catching the VOD or the YouTube. Thanks for like and commenting and subscribing. For those of you guys here, thank you so much for following along and seeing what we're doing, as well as watching, helping this channel get to where it wants to go. The subscribers are always appreciated as well. Otherwise, if you're catching this not live, you can see our streams either fully live on Monday evenings at twitch.tv/Dalaron Quest. That's DALARON Quest. Otherwise, you can catch us doing this pre-recorded, streaming live, hanging out with everyone on Tuesdays, or just, doing some Outer Worlds right now, going to space and looking at what horrible corporate, hyper unchecked corporatism can result in.
We're
And I would also like to...
We're still streaming the audio?
Yeah. I also would like to thank everyone for... I would like to thank my two co-hosts and hosts for organizing this and being a part of this.
I won't be able to show up the next 2 Tuesdays then for the audio things because I'm working.
Oh, no. I said if we do the pre-audio, we'll do it on Tuesday. But this seems to have gone well.
This went better than our recordings.
Yeah.
I can say that definitively listening to how things went. This was, like, significantly better than every time we've recorded.
Yeah.
Yes!
Which is very weird and funny to me.
Well, guys.
Then again, all the videos I've uploaded to my YouTube channel are awkward, but my streams are fine.
I mean, we're just hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah.
All right, Meep. Why don't you sign yourself off?
Well, actually, I'd like to plug the official Anime FMK Twitter first, if that's okay.
Fuck yeah, tell them about it.
Where we put up all of our VODs and everything, what we do and who we do. Well, not who we do, which shows we do. Let me just
and there's our video editor coming in.
The profile.
And there's our video editor coming in, wishing for us to take away the project.
But I am just trying to get the Twitter, but it's not letting me shill my Twitter, so I'm going to go onto my actual Twitter and then find the FMK Anime Twitter.
And today we learn the importance of prep.
Today we learn that Twitter is a shitty website. Wait a minute, that was always known.
Ooh.
We're talking about Preparation H.
Yeah, of course. What else will we be talking about? Also,
it's
for those of you guys
better for your
following along,
hemorrhoids, kids.
we have follow that link for the official FMK Anime Twitter, as well as for the Discord.
And please share this around with everyone you can. We want this community to grow along with all of you. Because I was actually going to... I know Dalaron's tired, so it'll probably just be me and Gilly unless Gilly wants to go sleep. I actually wanted to talk about, some stuffs for the future if we had time, because we're 3/4 of the way through this season, so it's better to talk about some stuff sooner rather than later.
I mean, dropping ideas for things that might come is always good, but always just remember, chat, this is tentative planning, but we're letting ideas float because we would love to hear from all of you. What do you guys think about it?
I mainly just meant stuff like, the shows and locks for next season, because it is official. The stuff on my anime list for the next season is what's going to be there. There's not going to be any other additions that they're going to add onto it.
Well, I mean, you can just express your interests, but none of us... I don't have any locks, so... Also, that kind of defeats... I think we should keep that secret. Keep everyone in anticipation.
Well, I'm not saying say it to the chat. I'm saying say it to each other, because, all three of us kind of have to know.
Oh, yeah, that's it, chat. No chat allowed. Only FMK girls. And that's us.
Yeah,
because lulz.
There's going to be another anime that's made by the same studio that made Fruit Tart.
Please no. That's all I can say about that. And Gilly, I know which one you're talking about, because I recognize the art style from the Condom anime.
I want to leave this up to chat.
Sorry.
I want to leave us in our Discord to make a poll so that our chat can lock in a single show. But you guys know that if you
So-
lock in a new fruit tart, we're just gonna kill it, right?
Well, depends.
No,
Well-
Gilly, no. The point of making
I do wanna
mistakes is to
say-
learn from them.
I will say one thing. This is before we get into this. I just want to talk about my excitement for a spring anime that no matter what, it's going to be on my personal list. Is in the spring anime releases, we're getting that that remake of Shaman King, and I'm going to be watching that all the way through.
If
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a
right on.
remake, feel free to lock it because I'm locking my hero.
Because that is I already I heard about that like a month ago, and I've been ready for it ever since. And it is not till April of next year, but I already know I'm going to be watching the hell out of it because I loved the original, and I'd love to see how the remake does.
Please feel free to lock it. It would greatly, I would greatly like to see it because it's a remake. It's a remake, not a sequel, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally counts. Just like how Cells at Work Code Black counts as it's a spinoff. As long as it's not a direct sequel and you'd be able to understand it without watching a previous series, that is perfectly fine. Or if we've seen the previous series, like I'm fairly certain all of us are caught up on My Hero, except for you, Dalaron. You're in the Gentle arc, so it's only a few episodes to catch up on. Yeah, you saw Aries Smile. I remember about that now. Yeah.
I'm always excited to see what new animes are coming out, though. Sometimes I don't care. Sometimes I'm excited to watch things.
On my personal watch list next week is going to be Doctor Stone. Catch us next season if we're still doing this, where you can see me talk about Doctor Stone at the end of each week.
And on that note, as well as with Meep's connection getting a little choppy there, I think this is a good time to bid everyone a good night.
Yep. Have a nice night, everyone.
Yeah.
Or morning, or afternoon, depending on what time you're catching us in the VOD. And we'll catch you guys.
Everyone lives in Canada, Dalaron.
Yeah.
Or if you don't sleep, kind of like me, good time.
Have a good existence, everyone. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.